In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful. The command of God is coming, so seek not to hasten it. Glory be to him, and exalted is he above that to which they ascribe a partnership. He sends down the angels with the spirit of his command upon whom he wills of his servants. Warn that there is no God save I, so be in prudent fear of me. He created the heavens and the earth in truth. Exalted is he above that to which they ascribe a partnership. He created man from a sperm drop, and then is he an open disputant. And the cattle, he created them. For you therein are warmth and benefits, and of them you eat. And for you therein is comeliness, when you bring them home to rest, and when you take them out to pasture, and they bear your loads to a land you could not have reached, save with great trouble to yourselves. Your Lord is kind and merciful. And horses, and mules, and donkeys for you to ride, and as adornment. And he creates what you know not. And upon God is the course of the path, and some of them deviate, and had he willed, he would have guided you altogether. He it is that sends down from the sky water for you. From it is drink, and from it are plants, in which you put out to pasture. He causes to grow for you thereby the crops, and the olives, and the date palms, and the grapevines, and every fruit. In that is a proof for people who reflect. And he made subject for you the night and the day, and the sun and the moon, and the stars are made subject by his command. In that are proofs for people who reason. As is what he created for you in the earth of different hues. In that is a proof for people who take heed. He it is that made subject the sea, that you might eat therefrom fresh flesh, and bring forth therefrom ornaments which you wear, and thou seest the ships ploughing therein, and that you might seek of his bounty, and that you might be grateful. And he cast into the earth firm mountains, lest it sway with you, and rivers and ways, that you might be guided, and landmarks, and by the star are they guided. Is then he who creates like one who creates not? Will you then not take heed? And if you should count the favor of God, you will not calculate it. God is forgiving and merciful, and God knows what you keep secret and what you make known. And those to whom they call, besides God, create not anything, but they are created, dead, not living, and they perceive not when they will be raised. Your God is one God, and those who believe not in the hereafter, their hearts deny, and they have waxed proud. Without doubt, God knows what they keep secret and what they make known. He loves not those that wax proud. And when it is said to them, What is it your Lord sent down? They say, Legends of the former peoples, that they might bear their burdens in full on the day of resurrection, and some of the burdens of those whom they lead astray without knowledge. In truth, evil is what they will bear. Those before them schemed. Then God came at their building from the foundations, so the roof fell down on them from above them, and the punishment came upon them whence they perceived not. Then, on the day of resurrection, will he disgrace them, and say, Where are my partners for whom you were hostile? Those given knowledge will say, Disgrace this day, and evil are upon the false claimers of guidance, those whom the angels take while wronging their souls. Then they will offer submission. We were not doing any evil. Verily, God knows what you did. So enter the gates of Gehenna, abiding eternally therein. Evil is the dwelling of those that wax proud. And it will be said to those who were in prudent fear, What did your Lord send down? They will say, Good. For those who do good in the world, there is good, and the home of the hereafter is better. And how excellent is the home of those of prudent fear, gardens of perpetual abode, which they will enter, beneath which rivers flow, wherein they have whatever they will. Thus does God reward those of prudent fear, those whom the angels take while virtuous. They will say, Peace be upon you. Enter the garden because of what you did. Look, they save for the angels to come to them, or for the command of thy Lord to come. Thus did those before them, and God wronged them not, but they wronged their souls. And there befell them the evil deeds that they did, and there surrounded them that whereat they mocked. And those who ascribe a partnership say, had God willed, we would not have served, besides him, anything, neither we nor our fathers, nor would we have forbidden anything contrary to him. Thus did those before them. Then is there upon the messengers save the clear notification? And we raised up in every community a messenger, serve God and avoid idols. And among them was he whom God guided, and among them was he upon whom misguidance was binding. So travel in the earth, and see how was the final outcome of the deniers. Though thou desire their guidance, God will not guide him whom he leaves to stray, and they have no helpers. And they swear by God their strongest oath, God will not raise up him who dies. Verily, it is a promise binding upon him, but most men know not, that he might make plain to them that wherein they differ, and that those who ignore warning might know that they were liars. Our word to a thing, when we intend it, is that we but say to it, be thou, and it is. And those who have emigrated in the cause of God, after they were wronged, we will settle them handsomely in the world, and the reward of the hereafter is greater, if they but knew. Those who are patient, and in their Lord place their trust, and we sent before thee only men, to whom we revealed. So ask the people of the remembrance, if you know not, with the clear signs and the writings, and we sent down to thee the remembrance, that thou make plain to mankind what has been sent down to them, and that they might reflect. Do they who plot evil deeds feel secure that God will not cause the earth to swallow them, or that the punishment will not come upon them, whence they perceive not, or that he will not seize them in their going to and fro, and they be unable to escape, or that he will not seize them through slow decay, and your Lord is kind and merciful? Have they not seen what things God has created, turning their shadows to the right and the left, in submission to God in all humility? And to God submits what is in the heavens and what is in the earth, among creatures and the angels. And they wax not proud, they fear their Lord above them, and do what they are commanded. And God said, take not two gods, he is but one God, and me be you in fear of me. And to him belongs what is in the heavens and the earth, and his is the doctrine forever. Will you then be in prudent fear of other than God? And whatever you have of favor, it is from God. Then when affliction touches you, then to him do you cry out. Then when he has removed the affliction from you, then a faction among you ascribes a partnership to their Lord, that they might deny what we have given them. So enjoy yourselves, and you will come to know. And they assign, to what they know, not a portion of what we have provided them. By God, you will be questioned about what you invented. And they appoint for God daughters, glory be to him, but they have what they desire. And when one of them receives tidings of a female, his face darkens, and he suppresses grief. He hides himself from the people, because of the evil of that whereof he had tidings, whether to hold it in contempt, or bury it in the dust. In truth, evil is what they judge. For those who believe not in the hereafter is the likeness of evil, and for God is the highest likeness, and he is the exalted in might, the wise. And were God to take men to task for their injustice, he would not leave upon it any creature, but he delays them to a stated term. And when their term comes, they will not defer an hour, nor will they advance. And they assign to God what they dislike, and their tongues describe the lie that they will have the best. Without doubt, they will have the fire, and they will be rushed in. By God, we sent messengers to communities before thee, but the Satan made their deeds fair to them, and he is their ally this day, and they have a painful punishment. And we sent down the writ upon thee, only that thou make plain to them that wherein they differ, and as guidance, and as a mercy for people who believe. And God sends down from the sky water, and gives life thereby to the earth after its death. In that is a proof for people who hear, and you have in the cattle a lesson. We give you to drink of what is in its bellies, between excreta and blood, pure milk, palatable to the drinkers. And of the fruits of the date palms and grapevines, you take therefrom an intoxicant and goodly provision. In that is a proof for people who reason. And thy Lord instructed the bee, take thou houses of the mountains, and of the trees, and of what they construct. Then eat thou of every fruit, and follow thou the ways of thy Lord gently. There comes out of their bellies a drink differing in its hues, wherein is healing for men. In that is a proof for people who reflect. And God created you. Then will he take you. And among you is he who is sent back to the most abject age, so that he knows not, after knowledge, anything. God is knowing and powerful. And God has favored some of you over others in provision, but those favored will not give over their provision to those whom their right hands possess, that they be equal therein. Is it then the favor of God they reject? And God has appointed for you from yourselves wives, and has appointed for you from your wives sons and grandsons, and has provided you of good things. Is it then in vanity that they believe, and the favor of God they deny? And serve rather than God what possesses no provision for them among the heavens or the earth at all, and can do nothing? So strike not similitudes for God. God knows, and you know not. God strikes a similitude, a slave owned, not having power over anything, and him whom we provided with goodly provision from us, and he spends thereof secretly and openly. Are they equal? Praise belongs to God, but most of them know not. And God strikes a similitude. 2 men, one of them dumb, not having power over anything, and a burden on his master. Wherever he directs him, he brings no good. Is he equal with one who enjoins justice, and is on a straight path? And to God belongs the unseen of the heavens and the earth, and the matter of the hour is only as the twinkling of the eye, or even nearer. God is over all things powerful, and God brought you forth from the wombs of your mothers, not knowing anything, and appointed for you hearing and sight and hearts, that you might be grateful. Have they not considered the birds made subject in the air of the sky? There holds them only God. In that are proofs for people who believe. And God made for you from your houses a place of rest, and he made for you from the hides of cattle houses, which you find light on the day of your journey, and on the day of your sojourn, and of their wool, and their fur, and their hair furnishing and enjoyment for a time. And God appointed for you of what he has created shades, and made for you of the mountains places of refuge, and made for you garments to protect you from the heat, and garments to protect you from your might. Thus does he complete his favor upon you, that you might submit. And if they turn away, upon thee is only the clear notification. They recognize the favor of God, then they deny it, and most of them are false claimers of guidance. And the day we raise up from every community a witness, then no leave will be given those who ignore warning, nor will they be allowed to make amends. And when those who do wrong see the punishment, it will not be lightened for them, nor will they be granted respite. And when those who ascribe a partnership see their partners, they will say, Our Lord, these are our partners to whom we called, rather than to thee. But they will cast at them the word, You are liars. And they will offer God submission that day, but strayed from them will be what they invented. Those who ignore warning and turn away from the path of God, we will increase them in punishment over the punishment for what they wrought of corruption. And the day we raise in every community a witness against them from themselves, and we bring thee as a witness against these. And we sent down the writ upon thee as a clarification of all things, and as guidance, and as a mercy, and as glad tidings for those submitting. God commands justice, and good conduct, and giving to relatives, and forbids sexual immorality and perversity and sectarian zealotry. He admonishes you that you might take heed and fulfill the covenant of God when you make a covenant. Then break not oaths after their confirmation when you have made God your surety. God knows what you do. And be not like her who breaks her thread after it was strung into fibers, taking your oaths as a deception between you, because one community is more numerous than another community. God but tries you thereby, and he will make plain to you on the day of resurrection that wherein you differed. And had God willed, he would have made you one community, but he sends whom he wills astray, and guides whom he wills, and you will be questioned about what you did. And take not your oaths as a deception between you, lest a foot slip after its being firm, and you taste evil for turning away from the path of God, and for you there be a great punishment. And sell not the covenant of God at a cheap price. What is with God is better for you, if you would know. What is with you has an end, and what is with God remains. And we will pay those who are patient their reward, according to the best of what they did. Whoso works righteousness, whether male or female, and is a believer, him will we make live a good life, and we will reward them according to the best of what they did. And when thou recitest the Qur'an, seek thou refuge in God from the accursed Satan. He has no authority over those who heed warning and in their Lord place their trust. His authority is but over those who take him for ally and those who ascribe a partnership to him. And when we change by a proof the place of a proof, and God best knows what he sends down, they say, thou art but inventing. The truth is, most of them know not. Say thou, the Spirit of holiness brought it down from thy Lord in truth, that it might strengthen those who heed warning, and as guidance and glad tidings for those submitting. And we know that they say, a man but teaches him. The tongue to which they incline is foreign, but this is a clear Arabic tongue. Those who believe not in the proofs of God, God will not guide them, and they have a painful punishment. They but invent lies who believe not in the proofs of God, and it is they who are the liars. Whoso denies God after his faith, save he who is compelled thereto, but whose heart finds rest in faith. But whoso expands his breast to denial, upon them is wrath from God, and they have a great punishment. Is it not that they chose the life of this world over the hereafter, and that God guides not the people of the false claimers of guidance? Those are they whose hearts God has sealed, and their hearing and their sight, and it is they who are the heedless. Without doubt, in the hereafter they are the losers. Then thy Lord, to those who emigrate after they are subjected to means of denial, then strive and are patient, thy Lord, after that, is forgiving and merciful. The day every soul comes pleading for itself, and every soul is repaid in full for what it did, and they will not be wronged. And God strikes a similitude. A city secure, at peace, its provision coming to it in abundance from every side. But it denied the favors of God. Then God let it taste the cloak of hunger and fear because of what they wrought. And a messenger from among them had come to them. Then they denied him. Then the punishment took them while they were wrongdoers. So eat of what God has provided you, lawful and good, and be grateful for the favor of your Lord, if it be him you serve. He has but made unlawful to you carrion, and blood, and the flesh of swine, and that dedicated to other than God. But whoso is forced, neither desiring nor transgressing, God is forgiving and merciful. And add not to what your tongues describe the lie. This is lawful, and this is unlawful, to invent lies about God. Those who invent lies about God will not succeed. A brief enjoyment, and they have a painful punishment. And to those who hold to Judaism, we made unlawful what we related to thee before, and we wronged them not, but they wronged their souls. Then thy Lord, to those who did evil through ignorance, then repented after that, and made right. Thy Lord, after that, is forgiving and merciful. Abraham was a leader, humbly obedient to God, inclining to truth, and he was not of the idolaters. One grateful for his favors, he chose him and guided him to a straight path. And we gave him good in the world, and in the hereafter he will be among the righteous. Then we instructed thee, follow thou the creed of Abraham, inclining to truth, and he was not of the idolaters. The Sabbath was only appointed for those who differed concerning it, and thy Lord will judge between them on the day of resurrection concerning that wherein they differed. Invite thou to the path of thy Lord with wisdom and comely admonition, and dispute thou with them with that which is best. Thy Lord, he best knows him who strays from his path, and he best knows the guided. And if you retaliate, then retaliate with the like of that wherewith you are harmed. But if you are patient, it is better for the patient. And be thou patient, and thy patience is only through God. And grieve thou not over them, nor be thou in distress over what they scheme. God is with those of prudent fear, and those who are doers of good. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, glory be to him who conveyed his servant by night from the inviolable place of worship to the furthest place of worship, which we blessed round about him, that we might show him some of our proofs. He is the hearing, the seeing, and we gave Moses the writ, and made it a guide for the children of Israel. Take not instead of me as disposer of affairs, progeny of those we bore with Noah. He was a grateful servant. And we decreed for the children of Israel in the writ, you will work corruption in the land twice, and wax high to a great height. Then, when the promise came of the first of the two, we raised up against you servants of ours of severe might, who conducted a search within the homes, and it was a promise fulfilled. Then we returned to you a turn over them, and supplied you with wealth and sons, and made you greater in influence. If you do good, you do good to your souls, and if you do evil, it is to them. Then, when the promise of the latter came, that they should disgrace your faces, and enter the place of worship, as they entered it the first time, and destroy all that they overcame with destruction, it may be that your Lord will have mercy on you, but if you return, we will return, and we have made Gehenna a prison bed for the false claimers of guidance. This Qur'an guides to what is most upright, and brings glad tidings to the believers who do righteous deeds, that they have a great reward, and that those who believe not in the hereafter, we have prepared for them a painful punishment. And man supplicates for evil by his supplication for good, and man is ever hasty. And we appointed the night and the day as two proofs, and we erase the proof of the night, and make the proof of day sight-giving, that you might seek favor of your Lord, and that you might know the number of years in the reckoning. And everything have we set out, and detailed with full explanation. And every man we have attached his fate to his neck, and we will bring forth for him on the day of resurrection a writ which he will find unrolled. Read thou thy writ, thy soul this day suffices as reckoner against thee. Whoso is guided, he is but guided for his soul, and whoso strays, he but strays against it, and no bearer bears the burden of another. And we do not punish until we have raised up a messenger. And when we intend to destroy a city, we command its opulent ones, but they are perfidious therein. So the word becomes binding upon it, and we annihilate it utterly. And how many generations have we destroyed after Noah? And thy Lord suffices, as one aware, seeing the transgressions of his servants. Whoso desires this fleeting life, we hasten for him therein what we will to whom we wish. Then have we appointed for him Gehenna, wherein he will burn, condemned and banished. And whoso desires the hereafter, and strives for it as he should, and is a believer, those, their striving is appreciated. To each do we extend, to these and to those, from the gift of thy Lord, and the gift of thy Lord is not restricted. See thou how we have preferred some of them over others, but the hereafter is greater in degrees and greater in preferment. Make thou not with God another God, lest thou sit down condemned and forsaken. And thy Lord has decreed that you serve, not save him, and towards parents good conduct. Whether one or both of them reaches old age with thee, say thou not, Fie, to them, nor repel thou them, but speak thou to them a noble word, and lower thou to them the wing of gentleness out of mercy, and say thou, My Lord, have mercy on them, as they brought me up when I was small. Your Lord best knows what is in your souls. If you are righteous, he is to those oft returning and forgiving. And give thou the relative his due, and the needy, and the wayfarer, but squander thou not wastefully. The squanderers are brothers of the Satans, and the Satan is to his Lord ungrateful. But if thou turnest away from them, seeking the mercy from thy Lord that thou expectest, then speak thou to them a gentle word, and make thou not thy hand chained to thy neck, nor extend thou it to its full extent. Then sit down blameworthy and denuded. Thy Lord expands provision for whom he wills, and he straightens. He is of his servants aware and seeing. And kill not your children for fear of poverty. We will provide for them and for you. The killing of them is a great offense. And approach not unlawful sexual intercourse. It is sexual immorality and evil as a path. And kill not the soul which God has made unlawful, save with justice. And whoso is killed wrongfully, we have given authority to his ally. But let him not commit excess in killing. He is supported. And approach not the property of the fatherless, save with what is better before he reaches maturity. And fulfill the covenant. The covenant is to be questioned. And fulfill the measure when you measure, and weigh with the straight balance. That is better and best in respect of result. And follow thou not that whereof thou hast no knowledge. The hearing and the sight and the heart, each of those will be questioned. And walk thou not in the earth exultantly. Thou wilt not cleave open the earth, nor wilt thou reach the mountains in height. All that, its evil is hateful in the sight of thy Lord. That is from what thy Lord has revealed to thee of wisdom. And make thou not with God another God, lest thou be cast into Gehenna, blameworthy and banished. Has then your Lord chosen for you sons, and taken from among the angels females? You speak a monstrous word, and we have expounded in this Qur'an that they take heed, but it increases them only in aversion. Say thou, if there had been gods with him, as they say, then would they have sought a path against the Lord of the throne. Glory be to him, and greatly exalted is he above what they say. The seven heavens and the earth, and whoso is in them glorify him. Nothing is saved that gives glory with his praise, but you understand not their glorification. He is clement and forgiving. And when thou recitest the Qur'an, we place between thee and those who believe not in the hereafter a hidden partition, and we have placed upon their hearts coverings, lest they should understand it, and in their ears deafness. And when thou rememberest thy Lord alone in the Qur'an, they turn their backs in aversion. We best know for what they are listening when they listen to thee, and when they are in private conversation, when the wrongdoers say, You follow only a man taken by sorcery. See thou how they strike similitudes for thee. Then have they strayed, and are not able to find a path. And they say, When we are bones and dust, will we be raised up as a new creation? Say thou, Be you stones or iron, or a creation of what is great within your breasts? And they will say, Who will bring us back? Say thou, He who created you the first time. Then they will shake their heads at thee and say, When is it? Say thou, It may be that it is near, the day he will call you, and you will answer with his praise, and you will think that you tarried only a little. And say thou to my servants that they say that which is best, The Satan provokes to evil between them. The Satan is to man an open enemy. Your Lord knows you best. If he wills, he will have mercy on you, or, if he wills, he will punish you. And we have not sent thee as a guardian over them. And thy Lord best knows who is in the heavens and the earth. And we have preferred some prophets over others, and we gave to David psalms. Say thou, call to those whom you claim besides him. They have no power over the removal of affliction from you, or of alteration. Those to whom they call seek the means of approach to their Lord, which of them should be nearest, and hope for his mercy, and fear his punishment. The punishment of thy Lord is to be feared, and there is no city save we will destroy it before the day of resurrection, or punish it with severe punishment. That is in the writ inscribed. And there prevented us from sending proofs, only that the former peoples denied them. And we gave Thamud the she-camel as a visible proof, but they wronged her. And we send the proofs only to put in dread. And when we said to thee, thy Lord encompasses mankind, and we made the vision, which we showed thee, only a means of denial for mankind, and also the accursed tree in the Qur'an, and we put them in dread, but it increases them, not save in great inordinacy. And when we said to the angels, submit to Adam, then they submitted. Not so Iblis, he said, shall I submit to one thou hast created of clay? He said, hast thou seen this, whom thou hast honored above me? If thou grant me respite until the day of resurrection, I will master his progeny, save a few. Said he, depart thou, and whoso follows thee of them, Gehenna will be your reward, an ample reward. And incite thou whom thou canst of them with thy voice, and rally thou horse and foot against them, and partner thou them in their wealth and children, and promise thou them. But the Satan promises them only delusion. My servants, over them thou hast no authority, and thy Lord suffices as disposer of affairs. Your Lord is who drives for you the ships upon the sea, that you might seek of his bounty. He is merciful towards you. But when affliction touches you upon the sea, strayed have those to whom you call save he. Then, when he delivers you to the land, you turn away, and man is ungrateful. Do you feel secure that he will not cause a portion of the land to swallow you, or send against you a storm of stones? Then, would you not find for you a guardian? Or do you feel secure that he would not return you to it a second time, and send against you a raging storm of wind, and drown you for what you denied? Then would you not find for you against us an adherent? We have honored the children of Adam, and carried them on land and sea, and provided them with good things, and preferred them greatly above many of those we created. The day we call each people with their record, then whoso is given his writ in his right hand, those will read their writ, and they will not be wronged a hair upon a date stone. And whoso is blind in the world will be blind in the hereafter, and further astray in the path. And they had almost seduced thee away from that. We revealed to thee that thou invent about us other than it, and then would they have taken thee as a friend. And were it not that we had made thee firm, thou wouldst have relied upon them a little. Then would we have let thee taste double in life and double in death. Then wouldst thou not find for thee against us a helper. And they had almost driven thee out of the land, to turn thee out therefrom. And then would they not have tarried after thee save a little. The practice of those we sent before thee, of our messengers. And thou wilt not find in our practice any alteration. Uphold thou the duty at the merging of the sun, until the dark of night and the recitation of dawn. The recitation of dawn is witnessed. And some of the night keep thou vigil with it, as an addition for thee. It may be that thy Lord will raise thee to a praise station. And say thou, my Lord, cause thou me to enter at a true entrance, and to leave at a true exit, and appoint thou for me from thyself a helping authority. And say thou, truth has come, and vanity has passed away. Vanity is to pass away. And we send down of the Qur'an what is a healing and mercy for the believers, but it increases not the wrongdoers, save in loss. And when we favor a man, he turns away and distances himself, and when evil touches him, he is without hope. Say thou, each does as he sees fit, but your Lord best knows him who is guided in the path. And they ask thee about the Spirit. Say thou, the Spirit is by command of my Lord, and you have been given of knowledge only a little. And if we willed, we would take away that we have revealed to thee, then wouldst thou not find for thee therein against us a guardian. Only by mercy from thy Lord, his kindness to thee is great. Say thou, if the Servi and the Domini gathered to produce the like of this Qur'an, they would not produce the like thereof, though they were helpers one of another. And we have expounded for men in this Qur'an every similitude, but most men refuse, save denial. And they say, we will not believe thee until thou cause a spring to gush forth from the earth for us, or thou have a garden of date palms and grapevines, and thou cause rivers to gush forth in the midst thereof abundantly, or thou cause the sky to fall, as thou hast claimed, upon us in pieces, or thou bring God and the angels before us face to face, or thou have a house of finery, or thou ascend into the sky, and we will not believe thy ascension until thou bring down upon us a writ we may read. Say thou, glory be to my Lord, am I anything save a mortal messenger? And whom God guides, he is guided, and whom he sends astray, for them thou wilt find no allies besides him. And we will gather them on the day of resurrection on their faces, blind and dumb and deaf. Their shelter is Gehenna. Whenever it subsides, we will increase for them an inferno. That is their reward, because they denied our proofs, and said, when we are bones and dust, will we be raised up as a new creation? Have they not considered that God, who created the heavens and the earth, has power to create the like of them? And he has made for them a term whereof there is no doubt, but the wrongdoers refuse save denial. Say, if you possessed the treasuries of the mercy of my Lord, then would you hold them back for fear of spending. And man is miserly. And we gave Moses 9 clear proofs. So ask thou the children of Israel, when he came to them, and Pharaoh said to him, I consider thee, O Moses, one taken by sorcery. He said, thou hast known that there sends these down only the Lord of the heavens and the earth, as a means of insight. And I consider thee, O Pharaoh, destroyed. And he wished to turn them out of the land, and we drowned him, and those with him altogether. And we said, after him, to the children of Israel, dwell in the land, and when there comes the promise of the hereafter, we will bring you in a mixed multitude. And with the truth have we sent it down, and with the truth has it come down. And we sent thee only as a bearer of glad tidings and a warner. And as a recitation we divided, that thou recite it to men in stages. And we have sent it down as a successive revelation. Say thou, believe in it, or believe not. Those given knowledge before it, when it is recited to them, they fall on their faces in submission, and they say, glory be to our Lord. The promise of our Lord is fulfilled. And they fall on their faces weeping, and it increases them in humility. Say thou, call to God, or call to the Almighty. By whichever you call, to him belong the most beautiful names. And be thou not loud in thy duty, nor quiet therein, but follow thou a path in between. And say thou, praise belongs to God who has not taken a son, and who has no partner in dominion, nor ally from weakness, and magnify thou him with glorification. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, praise belongs to God, who sent down the writ upon his servant, and placed not therein deviation. Straight, that it might warn of severe punishment from him, and bring glad tidings to the believers who do righteous deeds, that they have a goodly reward, they ever remaining therein, and warn those who say, God has taken a son. No knowledge have they thereof, and nor had their fathers. Grave is the word that comes out of their mouths. They speak only a lie. Then mightest thou destroy thy soul in their footsteps. From grief, if they believe not in this narrative. We made what is upon the earth an adornment for it, that we might try them, which of them is best indeed. And we will make what is there on barren ground. If thou thinkest that the companions of the cave and the inscription were a wonder among our proofs. When the young men took shelter in the cave, and said, Our Lord, give thou us mercy from thyself, and furnish thou us out of our affair with rectitude. Then smote we their ears in the cave a number of years. Then raised we them up, that we might know which of the two parties would best calculate what they had tarried in time. We relate to thee their report with the truth. They were young men who believed in their Lord, and we increased them in guidance, and we strengthened their hearts when they stood up and said, Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. We will not call, besides him, to any God, for then would we have said a wanton falsehood. These, our people, have taken up gods other than him. Oh, that they but brought concerning them a clear authority. And who is more unjust than he who invents a lie about God? And when you have withdrawn from them, and what they serve save God, take shelter in the cave. Your Lord will unfurl for you out of his mercy, and furnish you out of your affair all that you need. And thou seest the sun. When it rises, it inclines away from their cave to the right, and when it sets, it passes away from them on the left, and they in the opening thereof. That is among the proofs of God. Whom God guides, he is guided, and whom he sends astray, for him thou wilt find no guiding ally. And thou thinkest them awake when they are asleep, and we cause them to turn to the right and the left, and their dog was stretching out its 2 paws on the threshold. Hadst thou looked upon them, thou wouldst have turned away from them in flight, and been filled with terror of them. And thus we raised them up, that they might question one another. Said a speaker among them, How long have you tarried? They said, We have tarried a day, or a part of a day. Said they, Your Lord best knows how long you have tarried. Then send one of you with this coin of yours to the city, and let him see what food is purest, and bring you a provision therefrom, and let him be circumspect, and let not anyone be aware of you. They, if they come to know of you, will stone you, or turn you back to their creed, and you will then not be successful ever. And thus did he acquaint us with them, that they might know that the promise of God is true, and that the hour, there is no doubt concerning it. When they contended with one another about their affair, then they said, Build over them a structure. Their Lord best knows concerning them. Those who prevailed over their affair said, We will take for them a place of worship. They will say, 3, the 4th of them their dog. And they will say, 5, the 6th of them their dog, guessing at the unseen. And they will say, 7, and the 8th of them their dog. Say thou, My Lord best knows their number. None knows them save a few, so argue thou not concerning them, save with a patent argument, and ask thou not an opinion concerning them from any of them. And say thou not of anything, I will do that tomorrow, save, if God wills. And remember thou thy Lord when thou forgettest, and say thou, It may be that my Lord will guide me nearer than this in rectitude. And they tarried in their cave 300 years, and they increased by 9. Say, God knows best how long they remained. His is the unseen of the heavens and the earth. How seeing is he, and how hearing. They have no guardian apart from him, and he associates none in his rule. Recite what has been revealed to you of your Lord's book. None can alter his words, and you will find no refuge besides him. And keep yourself patient by being with those who call upon their Lord in the morning and the evening, seeking his countenance. and let not your eyes pass beyond them, desiring adornments of the worldly life, and do not obey one whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance, and who follows his desire, and whose affair is ever in neglect, and say, the truth is from your Lord, so whoever wills, let him believe, and whoever wills, let him disbelieve. Indeed, we have prepared for the wrongdoers a fire whose walls will surround them, and if they call for relief, they will be relieved with water like murky oil, which scalds their faces. Wretched is the drink, and evil is the resting place. Indeed, those who have believed and done righteous deeds, indeed, we will not allow to be lost the reward of any who did well in deeds. Those will have gardens of perpetual residence. Beneath them, rivers will flow. They will be adorned therein with bracelets of gold, and will wear green garments of fine silk and brocade, reclining therein on adorned couches. Excellent is the reward, and good is the resting place. And present to them an example of 2 men. We granted to one of them 2 gardens of grapevines, and we bordered them with palm trees, and placed between them fields of crops. Each of the 2 gardens produced its fruit, and did not fall short thereof in anything, and we caused to gush forth within them a river. And he had fruit. So he said to his companion, while he was conversing with him, I am greater than you in wealth, and mightier in numbers of men. And he entered his garden while he was unjust to himself. He said, I do not think that this will perish, ever, and I do not think the hour will occur. And even if I should be brought back to my Lord, I will surely find better than this as a return. His companion said to him while he was conversing with him, Have you disbelieved in He who created you from dust, and then from a sperm drop, and then proportioned you as a man? But as for me, He is Allah, my Lord, and I do not associate with my Lord anyone. And why did you, when you entered your garden, not say, What Allah willed has occurred? There is no power except in Allah. Although you see me less than you in wealth and children, it may be that my Lord will give me something better than your garden, and will send upon it a calamity from the sky, and it will become a smooth, dusty ground, or its water will become sunken into the earth, so you would never be able to seek it. And his fruits were encompassed by ruin. So he began to turn his hands about in dismay over what he had spent on it, while it had collapsed upon its trellises, and said, Oh, I wish I had not associated with my Lord anyone. And there was for him no company to aid him other than Allah, nor could he defend himself. There the authority is completely for Allah, the truth. He is best in reward and best in outcome. And present to them the example of the life of this world, its being like rain, which we send down from the sky, and the vegetation of the earth mingles with it, and then it becomes dry remnants, scattered by the winds. And Allah is ever, over all things, perfect in ability. Wealth and children are but adornment of the worldly life, but the enduring good deeds are better to your Lord for reward, and better for one's hope. And warn of the day when we will remove the mountains, and you will see the earth prominent, and we will gather them, and not leave behind from them anyone. And they will be presented before your Lord in rows, and he will say, You have certainly come to us, just as we created you the first time, but you claimed that we would never make for you an appointment. And the record of deeds will be placed open, and you will see the criminals fearful of that within it, and they will say, Oh, woe to us! What is this book that leaves nothing small or great, except that it has enumerated it? And they will find what they did present before them. And your Lord does injustice to no one. And when we said to the angels, Submit to Adam, then they submitted. Not so Iblis. He was of the Domini, and was perfidious towards the command of his Lord. Take you him and his progeny as allies, instead of me, and they are an enemy to you. evil in exchange for the wrongdoers. I made them not witness to the creation of the heavens and the earth, nor to the creation of themselves, and I take not those who lead astray as support. And the day he says, call my partners whom you claimed, then they will call them, but they will not respond to them, and we will make between them a place of ruin, and the lawbreakers will see the fire and realize that they are to fall therein, and they will not find an escape therefrom. And we have expounded for men in this Qur'an every similitude, but man is, more than anything, contentious. And there prevented men from believing when the guidance came to them, and from asking forgiveness of their Lord, only that the practice of the former peoples should come to them, or the punishment should come to them, face to face. And we send the emissaries only as bearers of glad tidings and warners, and those who ignore warning contend in vanity to refute the truth thereby, and have taken my proofs, and that whereof they are warned in mockery. And who is more unjust than he who is reminded of the proofs of his Lord, then turns away therefrom, and forgets what his hands have sent ahead? We have placed upon their hearts coverings, lest they should understand it, and in their ears deafness. And though thou invitest them to the guidance, they will not be guided then ever. But thy Lord is the forgiver, the possessor of mercy. Were he to take them to task for what they have earned, he would hasten for them the punishment. But they have an appointment. They will not find, besides it, an escape. And those cities, we destroyed them when they did wrong, and we made for their destruction an appointment. And when Moses said to his servant, I will not cease until I reach the confluence of the two seas, though I continue for an age. Then when they reached their meeting between them, they forgot their fish, and it took its path into the sea, tunneling. And when they had passed on, he said to his servant, Bring thou us our meal. We have met from this, our journey with fatigue. Said he, Hast thou considered? When we took shelter at the rock, then I forgot the fish, and there caused me to forget it only the Satan, lest I should remember it, and it took its path into the sea, amazingly. He said, That is what we were seeking, and they turned back in their footsteps, retracing. And they found a servant from among our servants, to whom we had given mercy from us, and taught knowledge from us. Moses said to him, Shall I follow thee, that thou teach me something of what thou hast been taught of sound judgment? Said he, Thou canst never be patient with me. And how canst thou be patient with what thou hast not encompassed in knowledge? He said, Thou wilt find me, if God wills, patient, and I will not disobey thee in any matter. Said he, If thou followest me, ask thou me not about anything until I make mention of it to thee. So they went forth. When they had embarked on the boat, he made a hole therein. He said, Hast thou made a hole therein to drown its people? Thou hast done a grievous thing. Said he, Said I not that thou canst never be patient with me? He said, Take thou me not to task for what I forgot, nor burden thou me in my affair with difficulty. So they went forth. When they had met a lad, he killed him. He said, Hast thou killed a pure soul for other than a soul? Thou hast done a terrible thing. Said he, Said I not to thee that thou canst never be patient with me? He said, If I ask thee about anything after this, then keep thou not company with me. Thou hast attained from me an excuse. So they went forth. When they had come to the people of a city, they asked its people for food, but they refused them hospitality. And they found therein a wall upon the point of collapse, and he set it upright. He said, If thou hadst wished, thou couldst have taken for it recompense. Said he, This is the parting between me and thee. I will inform thee of the interpretation of that with which thou couldst not be patient. As for the boat, it belonged to poor people working on the sea, and I desired to damage it, for there was behind them a king taking every boat by force. And as for the lad, His parents were believers, and we feared he would burden them with inordinacy and denial. So we desired that their Lord should give them in exchange one better than him in purity and nearer in affection. And as for the wall, it belonged to 2 fatherless lads in the city, and there was beneath it a treasure for them, and their father had been righteous, and thy Lord desired that they should reach maturity, and to bring forth their treasure as a mercy from thy Lord. And I did it not by my command. That is the interpretation of what thou couldst not be patient in. And they ask thee about Dhul-Qarnayn. Say thou, I will recite to you a remembrance of him. We established him in the earth, and gave him to everything away. So he went his way. When he had reached the setting of the sun, and found it setting in a murky spring, and found a people nearby, we said, O Dhul-Qarnayn, thou shalt either punish or take concerning them good. He said, As for him who does wrong, we will punish him. Then will he be brought back to his Lord, and he will punish him with a terrible punishment. And as for him who believes and works righteousness, for him is the best reward, and we will speak lightly to him from our command. Then he went his way. When he had reached the rising of the sun, he found it rising upon a people for whom we had not appointed besides it any cover. Thus, and we have encompassed what is with it in knowledge. Then he went his way. When he had reached between the 2 barriers, and found besides them a people scarcely understanding speech, they said, O Dhul-Qarnayn, Ya'juj and Ma'juj are workers of corruption in the land. So may we appoint for thee payment, that thou make between us and them a barrier? He said, That wherein my Lord has established me is better, but assist me with strength. I will make between you and them a dam. Give me sheets of iron. When he had made level between the 2 openings, he said, Blow. When he had made it a fire, he said, Bring me to pour thereon molten brass. And they could not pass over it, and they could not pierce it. He said, This is a mercy from my Lord, but when the promise of my Lord comes to pass, he will make it level, and the promise of my Lord is true. And we will leave them that day to surge one upon another, and the trumpet will be blown, and we will gather them together, and lay Gehenna bare that day to the false claimers of guidance, those whose eyes were under a veil from my remembrance, and were not able to hear. Do then those who ignore warning think that they can take my servants as allies instead of me? We have prepared Gehenna for the false claimers of guidance as a welcome. Say, shall we inform you of the greatest losers in deeds? Those whose effort is astray in the life of this world when they think that they are doing good work. Those are they who deny the proofs of their Lord and the meeting with him. So their works are in vain, and we will assign to them on the day of resurrection no weight. That is their reward, Gehenna, because they denied and took our proofs and our messengers in mockery. Those who heed warning and do righteous deeds, they have the gardens of paradise as a welcome, they abiding eternally therein. They will not desire any change therefrom. Say, were the sea ink for the words of my Lord, the sea would be exhausted before the words of my Lord were exhausted, though we brought the like thereof as replenishment. Say, I am only a mortal like you. It is revealed to me that your God is one God. So whoso looks to the meeting with his Lord, let him do works of righteousness, and ascribe not a partnership in the service of his Lord to anyone. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful. Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad. A remembrance of the mercy of thy Lord to his servant Zechariah. When he called to his Lord with a secret call, he said, My Lord, feeble are become the bones within me, and my head is aflame with white hair, yet never have I been wretched in my call to thee, my Lord. But I fear my heirs after me, and my wife is barren, so give thou me from thyself an heir, to inherit from me, and to inherit from the house of Jacob, and make thou him, my Lord, pleasing. O Zechariah, we bring thee glad tidings of a lad whose name is John. We have not made a namesake for him before. He said, My Lord, how will I have a lad when my wife is barren, and I have reached extreme old age? Said he, Thus said thy Lord, It is easy for me, and I created thee before, when thou wast nothing. He said, My Lord, make thou for me a proof. Said he, Thy proof is that thou shalt not speak to men 3 nights, being sound. And he went out to his people from the chamber, and instructed them, Give you glory, morning and evening. O John, hold thou fast the writ. And we gave him judgment when a child, and tenderness from us, and purity. And he was in prudent fear, and dutiful to his parents. And he was not arrogant or defiant. And peace be upon him the day he was born, and the day he dies, and the day he is raised up alive. And remember thou in the writ Mary, when she withdrew from her people to a place in the east, so she separated herself from them. Then we sent to her our Spirit, and he appeared to her as a mortal without fault. She said, I seek refuge in the Almighty, if thou be in prudent fear. He said, I am only a messenger of thy Lord, that I might give thee a pure lad. She said, How can I have a lad, when no mortal has touched me, neither have I been unchaste? He said, Thus said thy Lord, It is easy for me, and that we make him a proof for mankind, and a mercy from us, and it is a matter ordained. Then she bore him, and withdrew with him to a distant place, and the pains of childbirth brought her to the trunk of the date palm. She said, Would that I had died before this, and been utterly forgotten. Then he called to her from below her, Grieve thou not, thy Lord has placed beneath thee a stream, and shake thou towards thee the trunk of the date palm, it will drop upon thee ripe, fresh dates. So eat thou, and drink thou, and let thine eye be comforted. And if thou see any mortal, say thou, I have vowed to the Almighty a fast, so I will not speak this day to any man. And she brought him to her people, bearing him. They said, O Mary, thou hast done an unheard of thing. O sister of Aaron, thy father was not an evil man, and thy mother was not unchaste. Then she pointed to him. They said, How can we speak to one who is in the cradle a child? He said, I am the servant of God. He has given me the writ, and made me a prophet, and made me blessed wherever I be, and enjoined upon me the duty and the purity as long as I live, and dutiful to my mother, and he has not made me arrogant or wretched. And peace be upon me the day I was born, and the day I die, and the day I am raised up alive. That is Jesus, Son of Mary, the word of truth concerning which they doubt. It is not for God to take a son. Glory be to him. When he decrees a matter, he but says to it, Be thou, and it is. And God is my Lord and your Lord, so serve him. This is a straight path. Then the parties differed among themselves. Then woe to those who ignore warning from the meeting of a tremendous day. How they hear, and how they see the day they come to us. But the wrongdoers are this day in manifest error. And warn thou them of the day of regret, when the matter will be concluded. But they are in heedlessness, and they do not believe. We will inherit the earth, and whoso is thereon, and to us will they be returned. And remember thou, in the writ Abraham, he was a man of truth and a prophet, when he said to his father, O my father, why servest thou what neither hears nor sees, nor can avail thee anything? O my father, there has come to me knowledge that has come not to thee, so follow thou me, I will lead thee to an even path. O my father, serve thou not the Satan is to the Almighty defiant. O my father, I fear lest there touch thee a punishment from the Almighty, and thou be an ally to the Satan. Said he, Art thou averse to my gods, O Abraham? If thou cease not, I will stone thee. So depart thou from me a good while. He said, Peace be upon thee. I will ask forgiveness for thee of my Lord. He is gracious towards me. And I will withdraw from you, and that to which you call besides God, and I will call to my Lord. It may be that I will not, in my call to my Lord, be wretched. So when he had withdrawn from them, and what they served besides God, we gave him Isaac and Jacob, and each we made a prophet. And we gave to them of our mercy, and we made for them a tongue of truthfulness exalted. And remember thou in the writ Moses, he was sincere, and was a messenger and a prophet. And we called to him from the right side of the mount, and brought him near in private conference. And we gave him of our mercy his brother Aaron, a prophet. And remember thou in the writ Ishmael, he was true to the promise, and he was a messenger and a prophet. He enjoined upon his people the duty and the purity, and was pleasing in the sight of his Lord. And remember thou in the writ Idris, he was a man of truth and a prophet. And we raised him to a high station. Those are they whom God favored among the prophets of the progeny of Adam, and of those we bore with Noah, and of the progeny of Abraham and Israel, and of those we guided and chose. When the proofs of the Almighty were recited to them, they fell down in submission weeping. But there succeeded them successors who caused the duty to be lost, and followed lusts. They will meet with error. Save he who repents and believes and works righteousness, for those will enter the garden, and they will not be wronged in anything. Gardens of perpetual abode that the Almighty has promised his servants in the unseen. His promise is to come to pass. They will hear therein no vain speech, only peace, and they will have therein provision morning and evening. That is the garden which we cause those to inherit among our servants who are in prudent fear. And we come down only by command of thy Lord. Unto him belongs what is before us, and what following us, and what is in between. And never is thy Lord forgetful, Lord of the heavens and the earth, and what is between them. So serve thou him, and be thou steadfast in his service. Knowest thou one named like him? And man says, When I am dead, am I then to be brought forth alive? Does not man remember that we created him before, when he was nothing? Then, by thy Lord, will we gather them, and the Satans. Then will we bring them to be present round about Gehenna on bended knee. Then will we extract from every sect those of them most severe towards the Almighty in disdain. Then will we best know those most worthy to be burned therein. And there is not one of you save will arrive at it. That is upon thy Lord, an inevitability decreed. Then will we deliver those who were in prudent fear, and leave the wrongdoers therein on bended knee. And when our proofs are recited to them as clear signs, those who ignore warning say to those who heed warning, Which of the two factions is better in standing and better in assembly? But how many a generation we destroyed before them, which was better in possessions and outward appearance. Say thou, Whoso is in error, no matter the extent the Almighty extends for him, when they have seen what they are promised, whether it be the punishment or the hour, then will they know who is worse in position and weaker in force. And God increases those who were guided in guidance, and the enduring things, the righteous deeds, are better with thy Lord as reward, and better as recourse. Hast thou then seen him who denies our proofs, and says, I will be given wealth and children? Has he looked into the unseen, or taken a covenant with the Almighty? No, indeed. We will write down what he says, and extend for him the punishment greatly. And we will inherit from him what he says, and he will come to us alone. And they have taken gods, besides God, that they might be for them an honor. No, indeed, they will deny their service, and be a foe to them. Dost thou not see that we send the Satans upon the false claimers of guidance, in sitting them ever onwards. So hasten thou not against them, we but number for them a number. The day we gather those of prudent fear to the Almighty as a crowd of honored guests, and drive the lawbreakers to Gehenna as a destination, they will have no power of intercession, save he who has taken a covenant with the Almighty. And they say, the Almighty has taken a son. You have done a monstrous thing. The heavens are nigh rent therefrom, and the earth split open, and the mountains fallen in destruction, that they urge upon the Almighty a son. When it behoves not the Almighty to take a son, there is none in the heavens and the earth, but comes to the Almighty as a servant. He has counted them, and he numbered them exactly, and each of them will come to him on the day of resurrection alone. Those who heed warning and do righteous deeds, the Almighty will appoint for them love. And we have made it easy in thy tongue, only that thou bear glad tidings therewith to those of prudent fear, and thou warn therewith a contentious people. And how many a generation we destroyed before them, perceivest thou any one of them, or hearest thou from them a sound? In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, Taha, we have not sent down upon thee the Qur'an that thou be wretched, but only as a reminder to him who fears, a revelation from him who created the earth and the high heavens. The Almighty established himself upon the throne. To him belongs what is in the heavens, and what is in the earth, and what is between them, and what is under the soil. And if thou be public in speech, then he knows the secret, and what is more hidden. God, there is no God save he. To him belong the best names. And has there come to thee the story of Moses, when he saw a fire, and said to his people, Stay here, I perceive a fire, I might bring you therefrom a firebrand, or find at the fire guidance. And when he came to it, he was called, O Moses, I am thy Lord, so remove thou thy sandals, thou art in the sacred valley of Tuah, and I have chosen thee, so hearken thou to what is revealed. I am God, there is no God save I, so serve thou me, and uphold thou the duty for my remembrance. The hour is coming, I almost conceal it, that every soul might be rewarded for that for which it strives. And let not turn thee away from it, him who believes not in it, but follows his vain desire, or thou wilt perish. And what is that in thy right hand, O Moses? Said he, It is my staff. I lean on it, and beat down therewith leaves for my sheep, and I have therefore other uses. He said, Cast thou it down, O Moses. And he cast it down, and then was it a serpent moving. He said, Take thou it, and fear thou not. We will return it to its former state, and draw thou thy hand into thy bosom. It will come forth white, without evil, as another proof, that we might show thee some of our greater proofs. Go thou to Pharaoh, he has transgressed. Said he, My Lord, expand thou for me my breast, and ease thou for me my affair, and loosen thou the knot from my tongue, that they might understand my speech. And appoint thou for me an assistant from my family, Aaron, my brother. Strengthen thou by him my strength, and make thou him share in my affair, that we might glorify thee much, and remember thee much. Thou dost see us. He said, Thou hast been granted thy request, O Moses, and we bestowed favor upon thee another time, when we instructed thy mother with what was instructed. Hurl thou him into the chest, and hurl thou it into the water. The water will cast him upon the shore. An enemy to me, and an enemy to him will take him. And I cast upon thee love from me, and that thou be wrought under my eye. When thy sister went and said, Shall I direct you to one who will take care of him? So we returned thee to thy mother, that her eye might be comforted, and grieve not. And thou didst kill a soul, and we delivered thee from distress, and subjected thee to means of denial by a trial. And thou didst tarry years among the people of Midian. Then camest thou as ordained, O Moses, and I chose thee for myself. Go thou and thy brother with my proofs, and flag not in my remembrance. Go to Pharaoh, he has transgressed, and speak to him a gentle word, that he might take heed or fear. They said, Our Lord, we fear lest he hasten against us, or that he will transgress. He said, Fear not, I am with you, hearing and seeing. So go to him and say, We are the messengers of thy Lord, so send thou the children of Israel with us, and punish thou them not. We have come to thee with a proof from thy Lord, and peace be upon him who follows the guidance. It has been revealed to us that the punishment is upon him who denies and turns away. Said he, And who is your Lord, O Moses? He said, Our Lord is he who gave everything its creation, then guided. Said he, And what is the case of the former generations? He said, The knowledge thereof is with my Lord in a writ. My Lord neither errs nor forgets, who made the earth for you as a bed, and inserted roads for you therein, and sent down from the sky water, and thereby have we brought forth diverse kinds of plants. Eat, and pasture your cattle. In that are proofs for possessors of intelligence. Therefrom did we create you, and thereto will we return you, and therefrom will we bring you forth another time. And we showed him all our proofs, but he denied and refused. Said he, Hast thou come to turn us out of our land by thy sorcery, O Moses? Then will we bring thee sorcery the like thereof. So make thou an appointment between us and thee, which neither we nor thou shall fail to keep, an equal place. He said, Your appointment is the day of the festival, and let the people be gathered at midday. And Pharaoh turned away and gathered his plan. Then he came. Moses said to them, Woe to you! Invent not a lie against God, lest he utterly destroy you with a punishment. And he has failed, who invents? And they disputed about their affair among themselves, and kept secret their private conversation. They said, These are two sorcerers who want to turn you out of your land by their sorcery, and take away your exemplary tradition. So resolve upon your plan, then come with one accord, and he has succeeded who prevails this day. They said, O Moses, either thou wilt cast, or we will be the first who cast. He said, Nay, you cast. And then their ropes and their staffs seemed to him, by their sorcery, to be moving, and Moses conceived a fear within him. We said, Fear thou not, thou art the uppermost, and cast thou what is in thy right hand. It will swallow up what they have wrought. They have wrought but the plan of a sorcerer, and the sorcerer will not be successful, no matter where he goes. And the sorcerers cast themselves down in submission. They said, We have believed in the Lord of Aaron and Moses. He said, You have believed him before I gave you leave. He is your chief, who taught you sorcery. Then I will cut off your hands and your feet on opposite sides, and crucify you on the trunks of date palms, and you will know which of us is severer in punishment and more enduring. Said he, We will not prefer thee over what has come to us of clear signs, or him who created us. So decide thou what thou wilt decide. Thou canst but decide this worldly life. We have believed in our Lord, that he might forgive us our offenses, and what thou didst compel us to of sorcery, and God is better and more enduring. Whoso comes to his Lord as a lawbreaker, for him is Gehenna, he will neither die therein nor live. And whoso comes to him as a believer, having done righteous deeds, those have the high degrees. Gardens of perpetual abode, beneath which rivers flow, they abiding eternally therein. And that is the reward of him who purifies himself. And we instructed Moses, Travel thou by night with my servants, and strike thou for them a dry path in the sea, neither fearing overtaking nor being afraid. And Pharaoh followed them with his forces, and there covered them, of the sea what covered them. and Pharaoh led his people astray, and did not guide. O children of Israel, we delivered you from your enemy, and we made an appointment with you on the right side of the mount, and we sent down upon you manna and quails. Eat of the good things that we have provided you, and transgress not therein, lest my wrath descend upon you, and he upon whom my wrath descends has fallen. And I am all forgiving towards him who repents and believes and works righteousness. Then is he guided. And what made thee hasten from thy people, O Moses? Said he, They were close in my footsteps, so I hastened to thee, my Lord, that thou be pleased. He said, We have subjected thy people to means of denial in thy absence, and the Samirai has led them astray. So Moses returned to his people, wrathful and grieved. He said, O my people, did not your Lord promise you a fair promise? Was the covenant long in coming for you? Or did you wish that wrath from your Lord should descend upon you, so failed in your promise to me? They said, We failed not to keep our promise to thee of our own accord, but we were given to bear burdens of the adornment of the people. So we hurled them, and thus the Samirai cast, and he brought forth for them a calf as a body that lowed, and they said, This is your God, and the God of Moses, but he forgot. Did they then not see that it returned no word to them, nor possessed for them harm or benefit? And Aaron had said to them before, O my people, you are but subjected to means of denial thereby, and your Lord is the Almighty, so follow me and obey my command. They said, We will not cease to be devoted to it until Moses returns to us. He said, O Aaron, what prevented thee, when thou sawest them going astray, from following me? Didst thou then disobey my command? Said he, O son of my mother, seest thou me not by my beard, nor by my head? I feared lest thou say, Thou hast caused division among the children of Israel, and hast not observed my word. He said, And what is thy case, O Samirai? Said he, I saw what they saw not, so I took a handful from the track of the messenger, and did throw it, and thus my soul enticed me. He said, Then go thou, for in this life it is for thee to say, Outcast, and there is for thee an appointment thou canst not fail to keep, and look thou upon thy God, to which thou remainedst devoted. We will burn it, then will we scatter it in the sea with a blast. Your God is but God, there is no God save he. He encompasses all things in knowledge. Thus do we relate to thee from reports of what has gone before, and have given thee a remembrance from us. Whoso turns away from it, he will bear a burden on the day of resurrection, they abiding eternally therein. And evil is it for them on the day of resurrection as a load, the day the trumpet is blown. And we will assemble the lawbreakers, that day, wide-eyed, whispering among themselves, You tarried only 10. We best know what they will say, when their exemplars in the path will say, You tarried only a day. And they ask thee about the mountains. Say thou, My Lord will scatter them with a blast, and leave it a level plain. Thou wilt see therein neither deviation nor bend. That day will they follow the caller having no deviation, and voices will be stilled before the Almighty, and thou wilt hear not save a murmur. That day no intercession will avail, save one whom the Almighty has given leave, and with whose word he is pleased. He knows what is before them, and what following them, and they do not encompass it in knowledge. And faces will be humble before the living, the eternal, and he will have failed who carries injustice. And whoso does righteous deeds and is a believer, he fears neither injustice nor deprivation. And thus have we sent it down as an Arabic recitation, and expounded therein warnings, that they might be in prudent fear, or it cause in them remembrance. And exalted be God, the true King. And hasten thou not with the recitation before its revelation to thee be complete, and say thou, My Lord increase thou me in knowledge. And we made a covenant with Adam before, but he forgot, and we found not in him determination. And when we said to the angels, Submit to Adam, then they submitted. Not so Iblis, he refused. Then we said, O Adam, this is an enemy to thee and to thy wife. Then let him not turn you out of the garden, that thou be wretched. It is for thee to be neither hungry nor naked therein, and that thou suffer neither thirst therein, nor the heat of the sun. Then the Satan whispered to him, saying, O Adam, shall I direct thee to the tree of eternity, and a dominion that decays not? Then they ate thereof, and their shame became clear to them, and they began to draw over them of the leaves of the garden. And Adam opposed his Lord, so he erred. Then his Lord chose him, and turned towards him, and guided. He said, Get you down from it altogether, an enemy to one another. And if there comes to you guidance from me, then whoso follows my guidance, he will neither go astray, nor will he be wretched. But whoso turns away from my remembrance, he will have a straitened life, and we will gather him blind on the day of resurrection. He will say, My Lord, why hast thou raised me blind when I was seeing? God will say, Thus our proofs came to thee, and thou didst forget them, so thus art thou this day forgotten. And thus do we reward him who commits excess, and believes not in the proofs of his Lord. And the punishment of the hereafter is more severe and more enduring. Does it not then guide them how many generations we destroyed before them, in whose dwellings they walk? In that are proofs for possessors of intelligence. And were it not for a word that proceeded from thy Lord, and a stated term, it would have been requisite. So be thou patient over what they say, and give thou glory with the praise of thy Lord before the rising of the sun, and before its setting. And some periods of the night give thou glory, and at the ends of the day, that thou mightest be satisfied. And extend thou not thine eyes towards what we have granted some among them to enjoy, the flower of the life of this world, that we might subject them to means of denial therein. And the provision of thy Lord is better and more enduring. And enjoin thou upon thy people the duty, and be thou steadfast therein. We ask thee not for provision, we provide for thee. And the final outcome is for those of prudent fear. And they say, Oh, that he would but bring us a proof from his Lord. Has there not come to them clear evidence of what is in the former scriptures? And had we destroyed them with a punishment before him, they would have said, Our Lord, oh, that thou hadst but sent to us a messenger, so we might have followed thy proofs before we were humiliated and disgraced. Say thou, All are waiting, so wait, and you will come to know who are the companions of the even path, and who is guided. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, drawn nigh to men has their reckoning, while they in heedlessness are turning away. No remembrance from their Lord comes to them anew, but they listen to it while they play, their hearts distracted. And those who do wrong conceal their private conversation. Is this save a mortal like you? Will you go to sorcery with open eyes? Say thou, My Lord knows what is said in the heaven and the earth, and he is the hearing, the knowing. But, they say, a confused medley of dreams, but he has invented it, but he is a poet. So let him bring us a proof like that, sent to the former peoples. No city believed before them, among those we destroyed. Will they then believe? And we sent before thee only men, to whom we revealed, and asked the people of the remembrance, if you know not. And we gave them not bodies that ate not food, nor were they immortals. Then fulfilled we the promise to them, and delivered them, and whom we wished, and destroyed the committers of excess. We have sent down to you a writ, wherein is your remembrance. Will you then not use reason? And how many a city that was doing wrong did we utterly destroy, and produced after it another people? And when they perceived our might, Then did they flee from it. Flee not, but return to that wherein you were given opulence, and your dwellings, that you might be questioned. They said, Woe is us! We were wrongdoers. And that, their call, ceased not until we made them a harvest, extinguished. And we created not the heaven and the earth, and what is between them in play. Had we wished to take a diversion, we would have taken it from ourselves, if we are the doers. But we hurl the truth against vanity, and it triumphs over it, and then it passes away. And woe to you for what you describe it. And to him belongs whoso is in the heavens and the earth, and those in his presence are not too proud for his service, nor do they grow weary. They give glory night and day, and they flag not. If they have taken gods from the earth who resurrect, were there in them gods save God, they would have been corrupted. And glory be to God, the Lord of the throne, above what they describe. He is not questioned about what he does, but they will be questioned. If they have taken gods besides him, say thou, bring your evidence. This is the remembrance of him with me, and the remembrance of him before me. But most of them know not the truth, so they are turning away. And we sent not before thee any messenger save, we revealed to him that there is no God save I, so serve me. And they say, The Almighty has taken a son, glory be to him, but honored servants precede him not in word, but they act by his command. He knows what is before them, and what following them, and they intercede not save for him with whom he is pleased, and they are from fear of him in dread. And whoso among them says, I am a God besides him, then that we reward him with Gehenna, thus reward we the wrongdoers. Have not those who ignore warning considered that the heavens and the earth were stitched together? Then we ripped them apart and made of water every living thing. Will they then not believe? And we made in the earth firm mountains, lest it sway with them. And we made therein mountain passes as ways, that they might be guided. And we made the sky a roof protected. But they, from its proofs, are turning away. And he it is that created the night and the day, and the sun and the moon, each in a circuit swimming. And we appointed not eternity for a mortal before thee. If then thou wilt die, then are they eternal? Every soul will taste death, and we will try you with evil and good as a means of denial, and to us will you be returned. And when those who ignore warning see thee, they take thee only in mockery. Is this he who mentions your gods? And they, of the remembrance of the Almighty, they are deniers. Man was created of haste. I will show you my proofs, so ask me not to make haste. And they say, When is this promise, if you be truthful? If those who ignore warning, but knew the time when they will not restrain the fire from their faces, nor from their backs, nor will they be helped, but it will come upon them unexpectedly, and render them speechless, and they will be unable to repel it, nor will they be granted respite. And messengers were mocked before thee. Then there surrounded those who derided them, that whereat they mocked. Say thou, who can protect you by night and day from the Almighty? But they, from the remembrance of their Lord, are turning away. If they have gods to defend them besides us, they are unable to help themselves, nor are they protected from us. But we gave these and their fathers enjoyment until life became long for them. Have they then not considered that we come to the earth, diminishing it from its extremities? Is it then they who will be the victors? Say thou, I but warn you by revelation, but the deaf hear not the call when they are warned. And if there touch them a hint of the punishment of thy Lord, they will say, Woe is us! We were wrongdoers. And we will set up the balances of equity for the day of resurrection, so no soul will be wronged in anything. And though it be the weight of a mustard seed, we will bring it, and sufficient are we as account takers. And we gave Moses and Aaron the division, and an illumination, and a remembrance for those of prudent fear, those who fear their Lord unseen, and are of the hour in dread. And this is a blessed remembrance we sent down. Will you then not recognize it? And we gave Abraham his sound judgment before, and we knew him. When he said to his father and his people, "What are these statues to which you are devoted?" They said, "We found our fathers serving them." He said, "You and your fathers have been in manifest error." They said, "Hast thou come to us with the truth, or art thou of those who play?" He said, "But your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth who created them, and I am of those who bear witness to that. And by God, I will plan against your idols, after you have turned and gone." And he made them into pieces, save a great one they had, that they might return to it. They said, "Who has done this to our gods? He is surely of the wrongdoers." They said, "We heard a youth make mention of them. He is called Abraham." They said, "Then bring him before the eyes of the people, that they might bear witness." They said, "Didst thou this to our gods, O Abraham?" He said, "But this their great one did it. So ask them if they speak." And they returned to themselves and said, "It is you who are the wrongdoers." Then they went back on themselves. "Thou knewest that these speak not." He said, "Then serve you, besides God, what can neither benefit you at all, nor harm you. Fie upon you and all that you serve besides God. Will you then not use reason?" They said, "Burn him, and support your gods, if you are doers." We said, "O fire, be thou coolness and safety upon Abraham." And they desired a plan for him, but we made them the greatest losers. And we delivered him and Lot to the land we had blessed for all mankind, and we gave him Isaac and Jacob in addition, and each we made righteous, and we made them leaders, guiding by our command, and revealed to them the doing of good deeds, and the upholding of duty, and the rendering of the purity, and us they served. And Lot, we gave him judgment and knowledge, and we delivered him from the city that was doing bad deeds. They were an evil people, perfidious, and we made him enter into our mercy. He was among the righteous. And Noah, when he called before, then we responded to him, and delivered him and his household from the great distress. And we helped him against the people who denied our proofs. They were a people of evil, so we drowned them altogether. And David and Solomon, when they passed judgment concerning the tilth, when the sheep of the people had strayed and pastured therein, and we were witnesses to their judgment, and we gave understanding of it to Solomon, and to each we gave judgment and knowledge, and we made subject with David the mountains giving glory, and the birds, and we are the doers. And we taught him the making of garments for you, to protect you from your might. Are you then grateful? And to Solomon, the wind raging, running by his command to the land that we had blessed, and we knew everything. And among the Satans were those diving for him, and doing work besides that, and we were over them a guardian. And Job, when he called to his Lord, "Adversity has touched me, and thou art the most merciful of those who show mercy." Then we answered him, and removed what was upon him of adversity. And we gave him his household, and their like with them, as a mercy from us, and a reminder to those who serve. And Ishmael and Adris and Dulkifel, each was among the patient, and we made them enter into our mercy. They were among the righteous. And Dulnun, when he left in wrath, and thought that we would have no power over him, then he called in the darkness, "There is no God save thou. Glory be to thee. I have been among the wrongdoers." So we responded to him, and delivered him from distress. And thus do we deliver the believers. And Zechariah, when he called to his Lord, "My Lord, leave thou me not solitary, and thou art the best of inheritors." Then we answered him, and gave him John, and made right his wife for him. They competed in good deeds, and called to us in hope and fear, and they were humble towards us. And she who guarded her chastity We breathed into her of our spirit and made her and her son a proof for all mankind. This your community is one community, and I am your Lord, so serve me. But they divided their affair between them. All are returning to us. And whoso works any righteous deeds and is a believer, there is no rejection of his effort, and we are writers for him. And a prohibition is upon a city that we have destroyed, that they shall not return. When Ya'juj and Ma'juj have been loosed, and they from every elevation hasten forth, and drawn nigh has the true promise, and then the eyes of those who ignore warning will stare. Woe is us! We had been in heedlessness of this. The truth is, we were wrongdoers. You and what you serve, Beast's God, are the fool of Gehenna. You will arrive at it. Had these been gods, they would not have arrived at it, but all are therein abiding eternally. They have therein roaring, and therein they hear not. Those for whom the best from us has proceeded, those are from it far removed. They hear not a whisper thereof, and they, in what their souls desired, abide eternally. The greatest terror will not grieve them, and the angels will receive them. This is your day which you were promised, the day we fold up the heaven like the folding up of a scroll for the writs. As we began the first creation, we will repeat it, a promise binding upon us. Truly, we are the doers. And we decreed in the Psalms after the remembrance, my righteous servants will inherit the earth. In this is a notification for people who serve. And we sent thee only as a mercy for all mankind. Say thou, it is revealed to me that your God is one God. Will you then be submitting? And if they turn away, say thou, I have proclaimed to you all alike, and I know not whether near or far is what you are promised. He knows what is public of speech, and he knows what you conceal. And I know not. It might be a means of denial for you, and enjoyment for a time. Say thou, my Lord, judge thou with justice, and our Lord is the Almighty, the one whose aid is sought against what you describe. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, O mankind, be in prudent fear of your Lord. The convulsion of the hour is a tremendous thing. The day you see it, everyone nursing will neglect what she suckled, and everyone pregnant will deliver her burden, and thou wilt see mankind intoxicated when they are not intoxicated. But the punishment of God is severe, and among men is he who disputes concerning God, without knowledge, and follows every rebellious Satan, against whom it is decreed that whoso takes him as ally, him will he lead astray, and guide him to the punishment of the inferno. O mankind, if you are in doubt about the resurrection, then we created you from dust, then from a sperm drop, then from a clinging thing, then from a fleshy lump formed and unformed, that we might make plain to you, and we settle in the wombs what we will to a stated term. Then we bring you forth as a child, then that you should reach your maturity, and among you is he who is taken, and among you is he who is sent back to the most abject age, so that he knows not, after knowledge, anything. And thou seest the earth lifeless. Then when we send down upon it water, it quivers and swells, and grows every delightful kind. For it is that God, he is the truth, and that he gives life to the dead, and that he is over all things powerful, and that the hour about which there is no doubt is coming, and that God will raise those in the graves. And among men is he who disputes concerning God, without knowledge, or guidance, or an illuminating writ, turning aside proudly to lead away from the path of God. For him in the world is disgrace, and on the day of resurrection we will let him taste the punishment of the consuming fire. For it is that thy hand sent ahead, and that God is not unjust to the servants. And among men is he who serves God upon an edge. If good befalls him, he is assuaged thereby. But if a means of denial befalls him, he makes an about face. He has lost the world and the hereafter. That is the clear loss. He calls, besides God, to that which neither harms him nor benefits him. That is the extreme error. He calls to him whose harm is nearer than his benefit. Evil is the protector, and evil is the associate. God will make those who heed warning and do righteous deeds enter gardens beneath which rivers flow. God does what he wills. Whoso thinks that God will not help him in the world and the hereafter, let him stretch out means to the sky, then let him cross and let him look. Will his plan remove what enrages? And thus have we sent it down as clear proofs, and because God guides whom he wills, those who heed warning, and those who hold to Judaism, and the Sabaeans, and the Christians, and the Magians, and those who ascribe a partnership, God will decide between them on the day of resurrection. God is witness over all things. Dost thou not see that to God submits whoso is in the heavens, and whoso is in the earth, and the sun, and the moon, and the stars, and the mountains, and the trees, and the creatures, and many among mankind? And upon many has the punishment become binding. And whom God humiliates, he has none to honor him. God does what he wills. These are two disputants who have disputed about their Lord. Then those who ignore warning, garments of fire have been cut for them. Poured over their heads will be scalding water. Melted thereby will be what is in their bellies, as well as their skins. And for them are restraints of iron. Whenever they desire to come out therefrom, from anguish, they will be returned thereto, and taste the punishment of the consuming fire. God will make those who heed warning and do righteous deeds enter gardens beneath which rivers flow. They will be adorned therein with bracelets of gold and pearls, and their raiment therein will be silk. And they were guided to the good of speech, and were guided to the path of the praiseworthy. Those who ignore warning and turn away from the path of God and the inviolable place of worship which we made for mankind, alike are the one remaining in it and the one without. And whoso seeks therein deviation by injustice, him will we let taste of a painful punishment. And when we settled for Abraham the position of the house, ascribe thou not a partnership with me to anything, and purify thou my house for those who walk around, and those who stand, and the lowly, and the submitting. And proclaim thou among mankind the pilgrimage. They will come to thee on foot, and on every lean mount. They will come from every deep mountain pass, that they might witness benefits for them, and remember the name of God on days appointed over their provision of livestock cattle. So eat thereof, and feed the unfortunate poor. Then let them make an end of their unkemptness, and fulfill their vows, and walk around the ancient house. That, and whoso honors the sacred things of God, it is better for him in the sight of his Lord. And the cattle are lawful to you, save that recited to you. And avoid the abomination of idols, and avoid false speech, inclining towards God, not ascribing a partnership to him. And whoso ascribes a partnership to God, it is as if he had fallen from the sky. Then the birds snatch him away, or the wind sweeps him away to a far-off place. That. And whoso honors the tokens of God, then is it from the prudent fear of the hearts. For you in them are benefits to a stated term. Then is their place of sacrifice to the ancient house. And for every community we appointed a right, that they remember the name of God over what he has provided them of livestock cattle. And your God is one God. So submit to him, and bear thou glad tidings to the humble, whose hearts are afraid when God is remembered, and those patient over what befalls them, and who uphold the duty, and of what we have provided them they spend. And the camels, we appointed them for you among the tokens of God, for you in them is good. So remember the name of God over them when they are in lines, and when their flanks collapse, eat thereof, and feed the reticent poor and the beggar. Thus have we made them subject for you, that you might be grateful. Their flesh does not reach God, nor their blood, but prudent fear reaches him from you. Thus have we made them subject for you, that you might magnify God for guiding you, and bear thou glad tidings to the doers of good. God defends those who heed warning. God loves not every treacherous ingrate. Leave is given those who are fought because they were wronged, and God is able to help them. Those who have been turned out of their homes without cause, save that they said, Our Lord is God. And were God not to repel some people by means of others, pious communities would be destroyed, and trade, and duties, and places of worship, wherein the name of God is remembered much. But God will help him who helps him. God is strong and exalted in might. Those who, if we establish them in the land, uphold the duty, and render the purity, and enjoin what is fitting, and forbid perversity, and to God belongs the final outcome of matters. And if they deny thee, then there have denied before them the people of Noah, and Ad, and Thamud, and the people of Abraham, and the people of Lot, and the people of Madian, and Moses was denied. So I granted the false claimers of guidance respite, then I seized them. Then how was my rejection? And how many a city did we destroy when it was doing wrong and is desolate, and a deserted well, and a lofty castle? Have they not traveled in the earth, and had hearts with which to reason, or ears with which to hear? And it is not the eyes that are blind, but blind are the hearts which are in the breasts. And they ask thee to hasten the punishment, but God does not fail in his promise, and a day with thy Lord is as 1,000 years of what you count. And how many a city did I grant respite when it was doing wrong? Then I seized it, and to me is the journey's end. Say thou, O mankind, I am only a clear warner to you. Those who heed warning and do righteous deeds, they have pardon and a noble provision. And those who strive against our proofs, to frustrate them, those are the companions of hell. And we sent not before thee any messenger or prophet, save that when he desired the Satan cast into his desire. But God abolishes what the Satan casts. Then God makes firm his proofs, and God is knowing and wise, that he might make what the Satan casts a means of denial for those in whose hearts is disease, and those whose hearts are hard, and the wrongdoers are in extreme schism, and that those given knowledge might know that it is the truth from thy Lord, and believe in it, and their hearts might humble themselves to him. And God guides those who heed warning to a straight path, and those who ignore warning will not cease to be in doubt about it until the hour comes upon them unexpectedly, or there comes to them the punishment of a barren day. The dominion, that day, belongs to God. He will judge between them. Then will those who heed warning and do righteous deeds be in the gardens of bliss. And those who ignore warning and deny our proofs, those will have a humiliating punishment. And those who emigrated in the cause of God, then were killed or died, God will provide for them a goodly provision. And God, he is the best of providers. He will make them enter by an entrance with which they will be satisfied, and God is knowing and clement, that, and whoso retaliates with the like whereof he was harmed, then is oppressed. God will help him. God is pardoning and forgiving. For it is that God makes the night enter into the day, and makes the day enter into the night, and that God is hearing and seeing. For it is that God, he is the truth, and that to which they call besides him, it is vanity, and that God, he is the exalted, the great. Dost thou not see that God sends down from the sky water, and the earth becomes green? God is subtle and aware. To him belongs what is in the heavens, and what is in the earth. And God, he is the free from need, the praiseworthy. Dost thou not see that God made subject for you what is in the earth, and the ships run upon the sea by his command? And he holds back the sky, lest it fall upon the earth, save by his leave. God is to mankind kind and merciful, and he it is that gave you life, Then will he give you death. Then will he give you life. Man is an ingrate. For every community we appointed a rite for them to perform. Then let them not dispute with thee concerning the matter, and invite thou to thy Lord. Thou art upon right guidance. And if they dispute with thee, say thou, God best knows what you do. God will judge between you on the day of resurrection concerning that wherein you differ. Knowest thou not that God knows what is in the heaven and the earth? That is in a writ. That is easy for God. And they serve, besides God, that for which he has not sent down authority, and that whereof they have no knowledge, and for the wrongdoers there is no helper. And when our proofs are recited to them as clear signs, thou recognizest perversity in the faces of those who ignore warning. They all but attack those who recite our proofs to them. Say thou, then shall I inform you of worse than that? The fire God has promised to those who ignore warning, and evil is the journey's end. O mankind, a similitude is struck, so listen to it. Those to whom you call, besides God, will never create a fly, though they gather together for it. And if the fly snatch away something from them, they could not recover it from it. Weak are the seeker and the sought. They measured God, not with the measure due him. God is strong and exalted in might. God chooses from the angels messengers, and from men. God is hearing and seeing. He knows what is before them, and what following them, and to God are matters returned. O you who heed warning, be lowly and submit, and serve your Lord, and do good that you might be successful, and strive for God with the striving due him. He has chosen you, and has not placed upon you in doctrine any distress, the creed of your father Abraham. He named you those submitting before, and in this, that the messenger might be a witness to you, and that you might be witnesses to men. So uphold the duty, and render the purity, and hold fast to God. He is your protector. Then excellent is the protector, and excellent is the helper. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, successful are the believers, those who in their duty are humble, and those who from vain speech turn away, and those who act upon the purity, and those who preserve their chastity, save with their wives, or what their right hands possess, then are they not blameworthy. But whoso seeks beyond that, it is they who are the transgressors. And those who attend to their trusts and their covenant, and those who preserve their duties, it is they who are the heirs, those who inherit paradise, therein will they abide eternally. And we created man from an extract of clay. Then we placed him as a sperm drop in a secure fixed lodging. Then we created the sperm drop a clinging thing, and created the clinging thing a fleshy lump, and created the fleshy lump bones, and clothed the bones with flesh. Then we produced it as another creation, and blessed be God, the best of creators. Then after that will you die. Then on the day of resurrection will you be raised. And we have created above you 7 paths, and we are not heedless of the creation. And we sent down from the sky water in measure, and gave it lodging in the earth, and we are able to take it away. And we produced for you therewith gardens of date palms and grapevines. For you therein is much fruit, and thereof you eat. And a tree that comes forth from Mount Sinai yielding oil, and a seasoning for the eaters. And for you in the cattle is a lesson. We give you drink of what is in their bellies, and for you therein are many benefits, and of them you eat. And upon them and upon the ships are you carried. And we sent Noah to his people, and he said, O my people, serve God. You have no God but he. Will you then not be in prudent fear? Then said the eminent ones, who disbelieved among his people, This is only a mortal like you, desiring to take precedence over you, and had God willed, he would have sent down angels. We heard not of this among our fathers of old. He is only a man possessed, so wait for him for a time. He said, My Lord, help thou me because they have denied me. And we instructed him, Make thou the ship under our eyes and our instruction. Then when our command comes, and the oven boils over, load thou therein of each kind too, and thy household save him against whom the word has gone forth among them. And address thou me not on behalf of those who do wrong, they will be drowned. And when thou art seated, thou and whoso is with thee, upon the ship, say thou, Praise belongs to God who has delivered us from the wrongdoing people. And say thou, My Lord, set thou me down at a blessed landing place, and thou art the best of those who set down. In that are proofs, and we are testing. Then we produced, after them, another generation, and we sent among them a messenger from among them. Serve God, you have no God but he. Will you then not be in prudent fear? And said the eminent ones of his people, those who ignored warning and denied the meeting of the hereafter, and to whom we had given opulence in the life of this world, This is only a mortal like you. He eats of that whereof you eat, and drinks of that you drink. And if you obey a mortal like yourselves, you will then be the losers. Does he promise you that when you are dead, and are dust and bones, you will be brought forth? Far-fetched, far-fetched is what you are promised. There is only our life of this world. We die, and we live, and we will not be raised up. He is only a man who invented a lie about God, and we will not believe him. He said, My Lord, help thou me because they have denied me. Said he, In a little while will they become remorseful. Then the blast seized them with justice, and we made them as decaying herbage. Then away with the wrongdoing people. Then we produced, after them, other generations. No community outstrips its term, nor will they defer. Then we sent our messengers in succession. Every time its messenger came to a community, they denied him, and we caused some of them to follow others, and made them legends. Then away with a people who do not believe. Then sent we Moses and his brother Aaron with our proofs and a clear authority to Pharaoh and his eminent ones. But they had waxed proud, and they were a self-exalting people. And they said, Shall we believe two mortals like ourselves, and whose people serve us? Then they denied them, and were among those destroyed. And we gave Moses the writ, that they might be guided. And we made the son of Mary and his mother a proof, and we gave them shelter upon high ground, a fixed lodging, and a running spring. O you messengers, eat of the good things, and work righteousness. I know what you do. And this, your community, is one community, and I am your Lord. So be in prudent fear of me. But they divided their command among them into writings, each party exulting at what it has. So leave thou them in their flood of ignorance for a time. Think they that in the wealth and sons wherewith we supply them, we hasten for them good things? The truth is, they perceive not. Those who are from fear of their Lord in dread, and those who believe in the proofs of their Lord, and those who ascribe not a partnership to their Lord, and those who give what they give with their hearts in dread that they are returning to their Lord, those compete in good deeds, and they are forerunners therein. And we burden not any soul save to its capacity, and with us is a writ which speaks the truth, and they will not be wronged. The truth is, their hearts are in a flood of ignorance about this, and they have works besides that which they are doing. When we have seized their opulent ones with punishment, then will they cry out. Cry not out this day. You will not be helped by us. My proofs were recited to you, and you turned back therefrom on your heels, waxing proud thereat, talking to no purpose into the night. Have they then not considered the word with care? If there has come to them what came not to their fathers of old, or if they did not know their messenger, and so do not recognize him, or if they say, He is possessed, the truth is, he has brought them the truth, but most of them are averse to the truth. And had the truth followed their vain desires, the heavens and the earth, and whoso is therein, would have been corrupted. The truth is, We brought them their remembrance, and they from their remembrance are turning away. If thou askest of them payment, then is the reward of thy Lord better, and he is the best of providers. And thou invitest them to a straight path, and those who believe not in the hereafter are deviating from the path. And were we to have mercy on them, and to remove what is upon them of distress, they would persist in wandering blindly in their inordinacy. And we seized them with the punishment, but they yielded not to their Lord, nor humbled themselves. When we have opened against them a gate of severe punishment, then are they therein in despair. And he it is that produced for you hearing and sight and hearts. Little are you grateful. And he it is that created you in the earth, and to him will you be gathered. And he it is that gives life and gives death, and his is the alternation of night and day. Will you then not use reason? The truth is, they say the like of what the former peoples said. They say, when we are dead and are dust and bones, will we be raised? We have been promised this, we and our fathers, before. These are only legends of the former peoples. Say thou, to whom belong the earth, and whoso is therein, if you know? They will say, to God. Say thou, will you then not take heed? Say thou, who is Lord of the 7 heavens, and Lord of the great throne? They will say, God. Say thou, will you then not be in prudent fear? Say thou, in whose hand is dominion of all things, and he grants protection, and against whom there is no protection, if you know? They will say, in God's. Say thou, how then are you taken by sorcery? The truth is, we brought them the truth, and they are liars. God has not taken any son, and there is not with him any God. Then would each God have taken what he created, and some of them would have overcome others. Glory be to God, above what they describe, the knower of the unseen and the seen, and exalted above that to which they ascribe a partnership. Say thou, my Lord, if thou show me what they are promised, my Lord, then place thou me not among the wrongdoing people, and we are able to show thee what we promise them. Repel thou the evil with what is better, we best know what they describe. And say thou, my Lord, I seek refuge in thee from the goading of the Satans, and I seek refuge in thee, my Lord, lest they be present with me. When death has come to one of them, he says, my Lord, send thou me back, that I might work righteousness in what I left behind. No, indeed, it is but a word that he says, and behind them is a barrier until the day they are raised. And when the trumpet is blown, then no ties of kinship are between them that day, nor will they ask one of another. Then, whose balances are heavy, it is they who are the successful, and whose balances are light, those are they who have lost their souls, in Gehenna abiding eternally, the fire scorching their faces, and they scowling therein. Were not my proofs recited to you, and you denied them? They will say, our Lord, our wretchedness overcame us, and we were a people astray. Our Lord, turn thou us out therefrom. If we return, then are we wrongdoers. He will say, be despised therein, and speak not to me. A faction among my servants said, our Lord, we believe, then forgive thou us, and have mercy on us, and thou art the best of those who have mercy. Then you took them in derision until they made you forget my remembrance, and you laughed at them. I have rewarded them this day for their patience. They are the attainers of success. He will say, how long tarried you in the earth? By number of years? They will say, we tarried a day, or part of a day. Ask thou those who keep count. He will say, you tarried only a little, had you but known. Thought you that we only created you for amusement, and that to us you would not be returned? Then exalted be God, the true King. There is no God save he, the Lord of the noble throne. And whoso calls with God to another God, whereof he has no evidence, then is his reckoning but with his Lord. The false claimers of guidance will not be successful. And say thou, My Lord, forgive thou, and have thou mercy, and thou art the best of those who have mercy. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, a surah we have sent down and made obligatory, and wherein we sent down clear proofs, that you might take heed. The unchaste woman and the unchaste man, lash each one of the two with 100 lashes, and let not pity for them take you concerning the doctrine of God, if you believe in God and the last day, and let witness their punishment a number of the believers. The unchaste man shall not marry save an unchaste woman or an idolatress, and an unchaste woman shall not marry save an unchaste man or an idolater, and that is unlawful to the believers. And those who accuse chaste women then bring not 4 witnesses. Lash them with 80 lashes, and accept not of them witness ever, and it is they who are the perfidious. Save those who repent after that, and make right. Then is God forgiving and merciful. And those who accuse their wives, and have no witnesses save themselves, then the witness of one of them is 4 witnesses by God that he is of the truthful, and the 5th, that the curse of God be upon him if he is of the liars. And it averts the punishment from her that she bear witness, 4 witnesses by God that he is of the liars. And the 5th, that the wrath of God be upon her if he is of the truthful. And were it not for the bounty of God to you and his mercy, and that God is accepting of repentance and wise. They who came with the falsehood are a group among you. Think it not an evil for you. Nay, it is good for you. For every man among them is what he earned of the sin. And who took upon himself the greater part thereof among them, for him is a great punishment. Oh, that when you heard it, the believing men and the believing women had but thought good of themselves, and said, This is a clear falsehood. Oh, that they had but come against it with 4 witnesses. Then when they bring not the witnesses, then those, in the sight of God, are the liars. And were it not for the bounty of God upon you and his mercy in the world, and the hereafter, a great punishment would have touched you for what you expounded upon, when you received it with your tongues, and said with your mouths that whereof you had no knowledge, and thought it insignificant when it was in the sight of God monstrous. Oh, that when you heard it, you had but said, It is not for us to speak of this. Glory be to thee. This is a monstrous slander. God admonishes you that you return not to the like thereof ever, if you be believers. And God makes plain to you the proofs, and God is knowing and wise. Those who love that there be spread sexual immorality among those who heed warning, theirs will be a painful punishment in the world and the hereafter, and God knows, and you know not. And were it not for the bounty of God upon you and his mercy, and that God is kind and merciful. O you who heed warning, follow not the footsteps of the Satan, and whoso follows the footsteps of the Satan, he enjoins sexual immorality and perversity. And were it not for the bounty of God upon you and his mercy, not one of you would have been pure ever. But God increases in purity whom he wills, and God is hearing and knowing. And let not swear those of bounty and abundance among you against giving to relatives, and the poor, and the emigres, in the cause of God, and let them pardon and overlook. Would you not love that God should forgive you? And God is forgiving and merciful. Those who accuse chaste, heedless, believing women are cursed in the world and the hereafter, and they have a great punishment. The day their tongues and their hands and their feet will bear witness against them as to what they did. That day will God pay them in full their true due, and they will know that God, he is the manifest truth. Bad women are for bad men, and bad men are for bad women, and good women are for good men, and good men are for good women. Those are acquitted of what they said. for them are pardon and a noble provision. O you who heed warning, enter not houses other than your houses until you have asked leave and greeted the people thereof. That is best for you, that you might take heed. And if you find not therein anyone, then enter not until leave be given you. And if it be said to you, Go back, then go back. It is purer for you, and God knows what you do. You do no wrong to enter uninhabited houses in which there is benefit for you, and God knows what you proclaim and what you conceal. Say thou to the believing men that they lower some of their sight and preserve their chastity. That is purer for them. God is aware of what they do. And say thou to the believing women that they lower some of their sight and preserve their chastity, and that they show not their adornment, save that apparent of it, and that they draw their coverings over their bosoms, and not reveal their adornment, save to their husbands, or their fathers, or the fathers of their husbands, or their sons, or the sons of their husbands, or their brothers, or the sons of their brothers, or the sons of their sisters, or their women, or what their right hands possess, or male attendants, who have not the resourcefulness of men, or the children, not yet aware of a woman's private parts, and let them not strike their feet to make known what they hide of their adornment, and turn to God altogether, O believers, that you might be successful. And give in marriage the unmarried among you, and the righteous among your male slaves, and your female slaves. If they be poor, God will enrich them out of his bounty, and God is encompassing and knowing. And let abstain those who find not marriage until God enriches them out of his bounty, and those who seek the writ from among those your right hands possess. Contract with them, if you know good to be in them, and give to them out of the wealth God has given you, and compel not your slave girls to whoredom, seeking the enjoyment of the life of this world. And whoso compels them, then God, after their compulsion, is forgiving and merciful. And we have sent down to you manifest proofs, and an example of those who passed away before you, and an admonition for those of prudent fear. God is the light of the heavens and the earth. The likeness of his light is as a niche, wherein is a lamp. The lamp in a glass, the glass as it were, a shining star, lit from a blessed tree, an olive neither of east nor west. Its oil would nigh illuminate, though no fire touched it. Light upon light, God guides to his light whom he wills, and God strikes similitudes for men, and God knows all things. In houses God has given leave to be raised, and his name to be remembered therein. There give him glory therein, in the mornings and the evenings. Men whom neither trade nor commerce divert from the remembrance of God, and upholding the duty, and rendering the purity. They fear a day wherein the hearts and the eyes will turn about, that God might reward them for the best of what they did, and increase them out of his bounty. And God gives provision to whom he wills, without reckoning. And those who ignore warning, their deeds are like a mirage in a desert. The thirsty one thinks it water. When he has come to it, he finds it nothing, but finds God with him, and he pays his account in full, and God is swift in reckoning. Or like darkness in a fathomless sea, there covers it a wave, above which is a wave, above which are clouds, darknesses one above another. When he holds out his hand, he scarcely sees it, and he for whom God has made no light, there is for him no light. Dost thou not see that God to him gives glory, whoso is in the heavens and the earth, and the birds with wings outstretched? Each he knows his duty and his glorification, and God knows what they do. And to God belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and to God is the journey's end. Dost thou not see that God drives the clouds? Then he brings them together, then he makes them a mass, and thou seest the rain come forth from the midst of it, and he sends down from the sky, from mountains therein of hail, and he strikes therewith whom he wills, and turns away therefrom whom he wills. The brilliance of his lightning almost takes away the sight. God turns about the night and the day. In that is a lesson for those of vision. And God created every creature from water, and among them is what goes upon its belly, and among them is what goes upon 2 legs, and among them is what goes upon 4. God creates what he wills. God is over all things powerful. We have sent down manifest proofs, and God guides whom he wills to a straight path. And they say, we believe in God and the messenger, and we obey. Then a faction among them turns away after that, and those are not believers. And when they are invited to God and his messenger, that he judge between them, then a faction among them turns away. But if the truth be theirs, they come to him in willing submission. Is there in their hearts a disease? If they doubt or fear that God would deal unjustly with them, or would his messenger, nay, it is they who are the wrongdoers. The only word of the believers, when they are invited to God and his messenger, that he judge between them, is that they say, we hear and we obey. And it is they who are the successful. And whoso obeys God and his messenger, and fears God, and is in prudent fear of him, it is they who are the attainers of success. And they swore by God their strongest oaths, that if thou shouldst command them, they would go forth. Say thou, swear not. Obedience is known. God is aware of what you do. Say thou, obey God and obey the messenger. Then, if you turn away, then upon him is what he has been given to bear, and upon you is what you have been given to bear. And if you obey him, you will be guided, and upon the messenger is only the clear notification. God has promised those who heed warning among you and do righteous deeds that he will make them successors in the earth, even as he made those successors who were before them, and he will establish for them their doctrine which he approved for them, and will give them in exchange after their fear safety. They serve me, they ascribe not a partnership with me to anything, and whoso denies after that, it is they who are the perfidious. And uphold the duty, and render the purity, and obey the messenger, that you might obtain mercy. Think not that those who ignore warning can escape in the earth, and their shelter is the fire, and evil is the journey's end. O you who heed warning, let ask leave of you those whom your right hands possess, and those who have not reached puberty among you at 3 times, before the duty of the dawn, and when you lay aside your garments at noon, and after the duty of the night, 3 times of nakedness for you. You and they do no wrong beyond them, some of you moving about among others of you. Thus God makes plain to you the proofs, and God is knowing and wise. And when the children among you reach puberty, then let them ask leave, even as those before them asked. Thus God makes plain to you his proofs, and God is knowing and wise. And those past childbearing among the women who have no hope of marriage, they do no wrong that they lay aside their garments without displaying adornment, but that they refrain is best for them, and God is hearing and knowing. No blame is there upon the blind, nor any blame upon the lame, nor any blame upon the sick, nor upon yourselves, that you eat of your houses, or the houses of your fathers, or the houses of your mothers, or the houses of your brothers, or the houses of your sisters, or the houses of your paternal uncles, or the houses of your paternal aunts, or the houses of your maternal uncles, or the houses of your maternal aunts, or that whereof you hold the keys, or of your friend. You do no wrong to eat together or separately, but when you enter houses, greet one another with a greeting from God, blessed and good. Thus God makes plain to you the proofs, that you might use reason. The believers are but those who believe in God and his messenger, and when they are with him on a common matter, go not away until they ask leave of him. They who ask leave of thee, those are they who believe in God and his messenger. So when they ask leave of thee for some matter of theirs, give thou leave to whom thou wilt among them, and ask thou forgiveness of God for them. God is forgiving and merciful. Make not the calling of the messenger among yourselves as your call one of another. God knows those who slip away surreptitiously among you, and let those who oppose his command beware lest a means of denial befall them, or there befall them a painful punishment. In truth, to God belongs what is in the heavens and the earth. He knows upon what you stand, and the day they are returned to him, then will he inform them of what they did, and God knows all things. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, blessed be he who has sent down the division upon his servant, that he might be a warner to all mankind, he to whom belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and has not taken a son, or had a partner in dominion, but created everything, then ordained it entirely. And they have taken, besides him, gods which create nothing, but are created, and possess for themselves neither harm nor benefit, and they possess neither death, nor life, nor resurrection. And those who ignore warning say, this is only a falsehood, he invented it, and other people assisted him in it. And they have brought injustice and falsehood, and they say, legends of the former peoples he has written, and they are dictated to him morning and evening. Say thou, he sent it down, who knows the secret in the heavens and the earth. He is forgiving and merciful. And they say, what is this messenger that eats food and walks in the markets? Oh, that an angel were but sent down to him to be a warner with him. Or a treasure were but sent to him, or there were for him but a garden from which he ate. And the wrongdoers say, you follow only a man taken by sorcery. See thou how they strike similitudes for thee, and go astray, and cannot find a path. Blessed be he who, if he wills, will make for thee better than that, gardens beneath which rivers flow, and will make for thee palaces. The truth is, they have denied the hour, and we have prepared for him who denies the hour an inferno. When it sees them from a place far away, they will hear the fury and the roaring thereof. And when they are cast therefrom into a narrow place bound together, they will call thereupon for destruction. Call not this day for one destruction, but call for many destructions. Say thou, is that better, or the garden of eternity, which is promised to those of prudent fear? It will be for them a reward and a journey's end. They have therein all that they desire, they abiding eternally. It is upon thy Lord a promise requested, and the day he gathers them, and what they serve, besides God, and says, was it you who led astray these my servants, or did they stray from the path? They will say, glory be to thee. It behoved us not to take, besides thee, any allies. But thou didst give them and their fathers enjoyment, until they forgot the remembrance, and became a people ruined. They have denied you for what you say, and you are able neither to avert, nor to find help. And whoso does wrong among you, we will let him taste a great punishment. And we sent not before thee any emissaries, but that they ate food, and walked in the markets, and we made some of you a means of denial for others. Will you be patient? And thy Lord is seeing. And those who look not for a meeting with us say, oh, that the angels were but sent down upon us, or we but saw our Lord. They have waxed proud concerning themselves, and scornful with great scorn, the day they see the angels. No glad tidings that day for the lawbreakers, and they will say, a complete partition. And we will come to what they did of deeds, and make it scattered dust. The companions of the garden that day are better in dwelling place, and better in resting place. And the day the sky is rent asunder with the clouds, and the angels are sent down in successive descent. True dominion, that day, belongs to the Almighty, and it will be a difficult day for the false claimers of guidance. And the day the wrongdoer will bite his hands, he will say, would that I had taken with the messenger a path? Woe is me! Would that I had not taken such and such for a friend? He led me astray from the remembrance after it reached me, and the Satan is to man a traitor, And the messenger will say, O my Lord, my people took this Qur'an as a thing abandoned. And thus we appointed for every prophet an enemy from among the lawbreakers, but thy Lord suffices as a guide and a helper. And those who ignore warning say, Oh, that the Qur'an were but sent down upon him all at once, thus that we might strengthen thy heart thereby, and we have recited it distinctly. And they bring thee not a similitude, save we bring thee the truth, and better in explanation. Those who are gathered on their faces into Gehenna, those are worse in position, and further astray in the path. And we gave Moses the writ, and appointed with him his brother Aaron as an assistant. And we said, Go to the people who have denied our proofs. Then we annihilated them completely. And the people of Noah, when they denied the messengers, we drowned them, and made of them for mankind a proof. And we have prepared for the wrongdoers a painful punishment. And Ad, and Thamud, and the companions of Al-Ras, and many generations in between. And for each we struck similitudes, and each we destroyed utterly. And they have passed by the city, whereon reigned a reign of evil. So did they not see it? The truth is, they expect not a resurrection. And when they see thee, they only take thee in mockery. Is this he whom God sent as messenger? He had almost led us astray from our gods, were we not steadfast towards them. And they will know, when they see the punishment, who is further astray in the path. Hast thou seen him, who has taken as his God his vain desire? Wouldst thou then be a guardian over him? If thou thinkest that most of them hear or reason, they are only as the cattle. Nay, they are further astray in the path. Hast thou not considered thy Lord, how he spread the shadow? And had he willed, he would have made it still. Then we made the sun its guide. Then we took it to ourselves in an easy taking. And he it is that appointed for you the night as a covering, and sleep as a rest, and appointed the day as a resurrection. And he it is that sends the winds as glad tidings at the time of his mercy. And we send down from the sky pure water, that we might give life thereby to a dead land, and give it as drink to many of what we have created of cattle and men. And we have expounded it among them, that they might take heed. But most men refuse, save denial. And had we willed, we would have raised up in every city a warner. So obey thou not the false claimers of guidance, and strive thou against them, thereby with a great striving. And he it is that loosed the two seas, the one fresh and sweet, and the other salty and bitter, and made between them a barrier and a complete partition. And he it is that created from water a mortal, and made for him blood relations and marriage relations. And thy Lord is powerful. And they serve, besides God, what neither benefits them nor harms them. And the false claimer of guidance is a helper against his Lord. And we sent thee only as a bearer of glad tidings and a warner. Say thou, I ask not of you for it any reward, save that whoso wills might take to his Lord a path. And place thou thy trust in the living, who dies not, and give thou glory with his praise. And sufficient is he of the transgressions of his servants, as one aware, who created the heavens and the earth, and what is between them in 6 days, then established himself upon the throne, the Almighty. So ask thou about it one aware. And when it is said to them, Submit to the Almighty, they say, And what is the Almighty? Are we to submit to what thou commandest us? And it increases them in aversion. Blessed be he who has made in the sky constellations, and made therein a torch, and an illuminating moon. And he it is that made the night and the day, a succession for him who desires to take heed, or desires gratitude. And the servants of the Almighty are they who walk upon the earth modestly, and when the ignorant address them, they speak peace. And who spend the night to their Lord, submitting and standing, and who say, Our Lord, avert thou from us the punishment of Gehenna. The punishment thereof is unrelenting. Evil is it as a dwelling place and a residence. Save he who repents and believes and works righteousness, and those God will change their evil deeds to good deeds, and God is forgiving and merciful. And whoso repents and works righteousness, it is he who repents to God completely. And who do not bear witness to falsehood, and when they pass by vain speech, pass by with dignity. And who, when they are reminded of the proofs of their Lord, fall not down upon them deaf and blind, and who call not, with God, to another God, nor kill the soul which God has made unlawful, save with justice, nor commit unlawful sexual intercourse. And whoso does that will meet with a penalty. The punishment will be doubled for him on the day of resurrection, and he will abide eternally therein, humiliated. Save he who repents and believes and works righteousness, it is he who repents to God completely. And who do not bear witness to falsehood, and when they pass by vain speech, pass by with dignity. And who, when they are reminded of the proofs of their Lord, fall not down upon them deaf and blind, and who call not, with God, to another God, nor kill the soul which God has made unlawful save with justice, nor commit unlawful sexual intercourse, and whoso does that will meet with a penalty. The punishment will be doubled for him on the day of resurrection, and he will abide eternally therein, humiliated. Save he who repents and believes and works righteousness, it is he who repents to God completely. And who do not bear witness to falsehood, and when they pass by vain speech, pass by with dignity. And who, when they are reminded of the proofs of their Lord, fall not down upon them deaf and blind. And who say, Our Lord, give thou to us from our wives and our progeny a comfort of the eyes, and make thou us a model for those of prudent fear. Those will be rewarded with the upper chamber, because they were patient, and they will be met therein with greetings and peace, they abiding eternally therein, good as a dwelling place and a residence. Say thou, My Lord would not concern himself with you were it not for your call, but you have denied, so it will be requisite. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, Tasin Mim, those are the proofs of the clear writ. Thou mightest destroy thy soul from grief that they are not believers. If we will, we can send down upon them from the sky a proof to which their necks will remain humbled, and there comes not to them any new remembrance from the Almighty, save they turn away therefrom. Then have they denied, and there will come to them the report of that whereat they mocked. Have they not seen the earth? How much we have caused to grow therein of every noble kind. In that is a proof, but most of them are not believers. And thy Lord, he is the exalted in might, the merciful. And when thy Lord called Moses, Go thou to the wrongdoing people, the people of Pharaoh, will they not be in prudent fear? He said, My Lord, I fear that they will deny me, and my breast will be straitened, and my tongue not proceed. So send thou for Aaron. And they have a transgression against me, so I fear that they will kill me. He said, By no means. Go with our proofs. We are with you, listening. And go to Pharaoh, and say, We are a messenger of the Lord of all creation. Send thou with us the children of Israel. Said he, Did we not bring thee up among us as a child? And thou tarriedst among us years of thy life. And thou didst thy deed which thou didst, and waste of the false claimers of guidance. He said, I did it when I was of those who stray, and I fled from you when I feared you. Then my Lord gave me judgment, and made me among the emissaries. And that favor, wherewith thou reproachest me, is that thou hast enslaved the children of Israel. Said Pharaoh, And what is the Lord of all creation? He said, The Lord of the heavens and the earth, and what is between them, if you are certain. Said he to those round about him, Do you not hear? He said, Your Lord, and the Lord of your fathers of old. Said he, Your messenger who has been sent to you is possessed. He said, the Lord of the east and the west, and what is between them, if you use reason? Said he, If thou takest a god other than me, I will place thee among those imprisoned. He said, Even though I brought thee something clear? Said he, Then bring thou it, if thou be of the truthful. And he cast his staff, and then it was a clear serpent. And he drew forth his hand, and then it was white for all to see. Said he to the eminent ones round about him, This is a learned sorcerer. He wants to turn you out of your land by his sorcery. Then what do you command? They said, Delay thou him and his brother, and raise thou up in the city's gatherers, who will bring thee every learned sorcerer. And the sorcerers were assembled at the appointed time of a known day. And it was said to the people, Will you assemble, so we might follow the sorcerers, if they are the victors? And when the sorcerers came, they said to Pharaoh, Will there be a reward for us, if we are the victors? He said, Yeah, and you will then be of those brought near. Moses said to them, Cast what you will cast. And they cast their ropes and their staffs, and said, By the power and glory of Pharaoh are we the victors. Then Moses cast his staff, and then it swallowed up what they falsified. Then were the sorcerers cast down in submission. They said, We believe in the Lord of all creation, the Lord of Moses and Aaron. Said he, You have believed him before I gave you leave. He is your chief, who taught you sorcery, and you will come to know. I will cut off your hands and your feet on opposite sides, and crucify you altogether. They said, No harm, to our Lord are we returning. We hope that our Lord will forgive us our offenses, because we were the first of the believers. And we instructed Moses, Travel thou by night with my servants, you will be followed. And Pharaoh sent into the city's gatherers, These are but a little band, but they do enrage us, and we are a cautious assembly. And we turned them out of gardens and springs, and treasures and a noble station. Thus, and we caused the children of Israel to inherit them. And they followed them at sunrise. And when the two hosts saw each other, the companions of Moses said, We are overtaken. He said, By no means, my Lord is with me, he will guide me. Then we instructed Moses, Strike thou the sea with thy staff. And it parted, and each part was like a great towering mountain. And we brought nigh thereto the others, and we delivered Moses, and those with him altogether, then drowned we the others. In that is a proof, but most of them are not believers. And thy Lord, he is the exalted in might, the merciful. And recite thou to them the report of Abraham, when he said to his father and his people, What do you serve? They said, We serve idols, and remain to them devoted. He said, Do they hear you when you call, or benefit you, or do harm? They said, Nay, we found our fathers doing thus. He said, Have you considered what you have been serving? You and your fathers the ancients? And they are an enemy to me, save the Lord of all creation, who created me, and he guides me, and it is he who feeds me, and gives me drink. And when I am sick, he heals me. And who will give me death, then give me life, and who I hope will forgive me my offenses on the day of judgment. My Lord, give thou me judgment, and join thou me with the righteous, and appoint thou for me a tongue of truth among those who come later, and make thou me among the inheritors of the garden of bliss. And forgive thou my father, he is of those who go astray, and disgrace thou me, not the day they are raised, the day wealth and sons benefit not. Save him who comes to God with a pure heart, and the garden will be brought nigh to those of prudent fear, and hell will be made manifest to those who err, and it will be said to them, Where is what you served? Besides God, do they help you, or help themselves? And they will be hurled therein, they and those who err, and the forces of Iblas altogether. They will say, while they dispute therein. By God, we were in manifest error, when we made you equal with the Lord of all creation, and none but the lawbreakers led us astray. So now we have no intercessors, nor sincere loyal friend. Would that we might return and be among the believers. In that is a proof, but most of them are not believers. And thy Lord, he is the exalted in might, the merciful. The people of Noah denied the emissaries, when their brother Noah said to them, Will you not be in prudent fear? I am to you a trustworthy messenger, so be in prudent fear of God, and obey me. And I ask of you for it no reward. My reward is only upon the Lord of all creation. So be in prudent fear of God, and obey me. They said, Are we to believe thee, when the abject follow thee? He said, And what knowledge have I of what they did? Their reckoning is only upon my Lord, were you to perceive. And I am not one to drive away the believers. I am only a clear warner. They said, If thou cease not, O Noah, thou wilt be of those stoned. He said, My Lord, my people have denied me. So decide thou between me and them, and deliver thou me and those with me among the believers. So we delivered him and those with him in the laden ship. Then we drowned thereafter those remaining. In that is a proof, but most of them are not believers. And thy Lord, he is the exalted in might, the merciful, had denied the emissaries, when their brother Hud said to them, Will you not be in prudent fear? I am to you a trustworthy messenger, so be in prudent fear of God, and obey me. And I ask of you for it no reward. My reward is only upon the Lord of all creation. Build you a proof on every prominence, amusing yourselves, and take you constructions, that you might abide eternally. And when you lay you hold as tyrants. So be in prudent fear of God, and obey me. And be in prudent fear of him who has supplied you with what you know, supplied you with cattle and sons, and gardens and springs. I fear for you the punishment of a tremendous day. They said, It is the same to us whether thou admonishest or be not of the admonishers. This is only the tradition of the former peoples, and we are not to be punished. And they denied him, then we destroyed them. In that is a proof, but most of them are not believers. And thy Lord, he is the exalted in might, the merciful. Thamud denied the emissaries, when their brother Salih said to them, Will you not be in prudent fear? I am to you a trustworthy messenger, so be in prudent fear of God, and obey me. And I ask of you for it no reward. My reward is only upon the Lord of all creation. Are you to be left secure in what is here, among gardens and springs, and tilled fields, and date palms with slender spades, and to hew out houses from the mountains skillfully? So be in prudent fear of God, and obey me, and obey not the command of the committers of excess, those who work corruption in the land, and do not right. They said, Thou art but one taken by sorcery. Thou art only a mortal like us. Then bring thou a proof, if thou be of the truthful. He said, This is a she-camel, to her a drink, and to you a drink on a day appointed. And touch her not with evil, lest there take you the punishment of a tremendous day. But they hamstrung her. Then they became remorseful, and the punishment seized them. In that is a proof, but most of them are not believers. And thy Lord, he is the exalted in might, the merciful. The people of Lot denied the emissaries, when their brother Lot said to them, Will you not be in prudent fear? I am to you a trustworthy messenger, so be in prudent fear of God, and obey me. And I ask of you for it no reward. My reward is only upon the Lord of all creation. Do you approach the males among all mankind, and leave what your Lord created for you among your wives? The truth is, you are a transgressing people. They said, If thou cease not, O Lot, thou wilt be of those turned out. He said, I am of those who abhor your deed. My Lord, deliver thou me and my household from what they do. And we delivered him and his household altogether, save an old woman among those who stayed behind. Then we annihilated the others, and we rained upon them a rain, and evil is the rain of those who were warned. In that is a proof, but most of them are not believers. And thy Lord, he is the exalted in might, the merciful. And the companions of the woods denied the emissaries, when Shu'aib said to them, Will you not be in prudent fear? I am to you a trustworthy messenger. So be in prudent fear of God, and obey me. And I ask of you for it no reward. My reward is only upon the Lord of all creation. Fulfill the measure, and be not of those who cause loss. And weigh with the straight balance, and deprive not men of their possessions, and commit not evil in the earth, working corruption. And be in prudent fear of him who created you and the generations of the former peoples. They said, Thou art but one taken by sorcery, and thou art only a mortal like us, and we consider thee a liar. Then cause thou pieces of the sky to fall upon us, if thou be of the truthful. He said, My Lord best knows what you do. Then they denied him. Then there seized them the punishment of the day of shadow. It was the punishment of a tremendous day. In that is a proof, but most of them are not believers. And thy Lord, he is the exalted in might, the merciful. And it is a revelation of the Lord of all creation, brought down by the faithful Spirit, upon thy heart, that thou be of the warners, in a clear Arabic tongue. And it is in the writings of the former peoples. Is it not a proof to them that the learned of the children of Israel know it? And had we sent it down upon any of the non-Arabs, and he had recited it to them, they would not have been believers in it. Thus have we put it in the hearts of the lawbreakers. They will not believe in it until they see the painful punishment, and it will come upon them unexpectedly when they perceive not. Then will they say, Can we be granted respite? Is it then our punishment they seek to hasten? Hast thou then considered, if we give them enjoyment for years, then there comes to them what they were promised, what will it avail them, what they enjoyed? And we destroyed no city, save it had warners, as a reminder, and we were not wrongdoers, and the Satans did not bring it down. And it does not behove them, nor are they able. They are excluded from hearing. And call thou not with God to another God, lest thou be of those punished. And warn thou thy relatives, and lower thou thy wing to those who follow thee among the believers. And if they oppose thee, say thou, I am quit of what you do. And place thou thy trust in the exalted in might, the merciful, who sees thee when thou arisest, and thy going to and fro among those who submit. He is the hearing, the knowing. Shall I inform you upon whom the Satans descend? They descend upon every sinful deceiver. They give ear, and most of them are liars. And the poets, those who err, follow them. Dost thou not see that they wander in every valley, and that they say what they do not? Save those who heed warning, and do righteous deeds, and remember God much, and help themselves after they have been wronged. And those who do wrong will come to know to what final destination they will be returned. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful. Tasin. Those are the proofs of the Qur'an and of a clear writ, as guidance and glad tidings for the believers, those who uphold the duty and render the purity, and of the hereafter they are certain. Those who believe not in the hereafter, we have made their deeds fair to them, so they wander blindly. Those are they for whom is the evil of punishment, and in the hereafter are they the greatest losers. And thou receivest the Qur'an from one wise and knowing. When Moses said to his people, I perceive a fire, I will bring you news from it, or bring you a flaming brand, that you might warm yourselves. Then when he came to it, he was cold. Blessed is he who is in the fire, and who is round about it, and glory be to God, the Lord of all creation. O Moses, it is I, God, the exalted in might, the wise. And cast thou thy staff, And when he saw it stirring, as if it were a dominus, he turned away, and did not return. O Moses, fear thou not, the emissaries fear not in my presence. Save whoso did wrong, then he changed to good after evil. So am I forgiving and merciful. And enter thou thy hand into thy bosom, it will come forth white, without evil, among 9 proofs to Pharaoh and his people. They are a perfidious people. And when our visible proofs came to them, they said, This is obvious sorcery. And they rejected them, though their souls were convinced thereof, in injustice and arrogance. So see thou how was the final outcome of the workers of corruption. And we gave to David and Solomon knowledge, and they said, Praise belongs to God, who has preferred us above many of his believing servants. And Solomon inherited from David, and he said, O mankind, we have been taught the speech of birds, and have been given of everything. This is the clear favor. And there were gathered to Solomon his forces of Domini and Servi and birds, and they were marshaled. When they had reached the valley of the ants, an ant said, O ants, enter your dwellings, lest Solomon and his forces crush you when they perceive not. And he smiled, laughing at her speech, and he said, My Lord, direct thou me to be grateful for thy favor, wherewith thou favored me and my parents, and to work righteousness pleasing to thee, and make thou me enter, by thy mercy, among thy righteous servants. And he inspected the birds, and said, How is it with me that I see not the hoopoe? Or is he among the absent? I will punish him with a severe punishment, or I will slaughter him, unless he brings me a clear authority. But he tarried not long, and said, I have encompassed what thou hast not encompassed, and I come to thee from Saba with a certain report. I found a woman ruling them, and she has been given of everything, and she has a great throne. I found her and her people submitting to the sun rather than to God. And the Satan made their deeds fair to them. He turned them away from the path, so they are not guided. That they submit not to God, who brings forth the hidden in the heavens and the earth, and knows what you hide and what you make known. God, there is no God save he, Lord of the great throne. He said, We will see if thou hast spoken truly, or art of the liars. Go thou with this my writ, cast thou it unto them, then turn thou away from them, and see thou what they will return. She said, O eminent ones, there has been cast unto me a noble writ. It is from Solomon, and it is, in the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful. Exalt not yourselves against me, but come to me submitting. She said, O eminent ones, counsel me in my affair. I decide no affair until you bear me witness. They said, We possess power and possess strong might, but the command is for thee. See thou what thou wilt command. She said, Kings, when they enter a city, spoil it, and make its most honored people abject, and thus will they do. And I will send a gift to them, and see with what the emissaries return. So when he came to Solomon, he said, Would you supply me with wealth? But what God has given me is better than what he has given you. The truth is, it is you who exult in your gift. Return thou to them. We will come to them with forces they have no power to resist, and we will drive them therefrom in objection, and they will be brought low. He said, O eminent ones, which of you will bring me her throne before they come to me submitting? A mischievous one among the Domini said, I will bring it to thee before thou canst rise from thy place, and I am for this strong and trustworthy. Said one with knowledge of the writ, I will bring it to thee before thy glance return to thee. And when he saw it set before him, he said, This is of the bounty of my Lord, that he might try me, whether I am grateful or ungrateful. And whoso is grateful, he is but grateful for his soul. And whoso is ungrateful, then is my Lord, free from need and generous. He said, Disguise her throne for her. We will see if she is guided, or if she is of those not guided. And when she came, it was said, Is thy throne like this? She said, As though the same. And we were given knowledge before her, and we were submitting. And what she served, besides God, diverted her. She was of a people of false claimers of guidance. It was said to her, Enter thou the palace. But when she saw it, she thought it a body of water, and uncovered her legs. He said, It is a palace made smooth with glass. She said, My Lord, I have wronged my soul, and I submit with Solomon to God, the Lord of all creation. And we sent to Thamud, their brother Salih, that you serve God, but then were they two factions quarreling. He said, O my people, why will you hasten on the evil before the good? Oh, that you did but ask pardon of God, that you might obtain mercy. They said, We think thee, and those with thee, an evil omen. He said, Your evil omen is with God. The truth is, you are a people subjected to means of denial. And there were in the city 9 men who wrought corruption in the land, and did not right. They said, Swear one to another by God, that we will attack him and his household by night. Then we will say to his ally, We witnessed not the destruction of his household, and we are the truthful. And they schemed a scheme, and we schemed a scheme, and they perceived not. Then see thou, how was the final outcome of their scheme, that we destroyed them and their people altogether. So those are their houses, desolate because of the wrong they did. In that is a proof for people who know. And we delivered those who heeded warning and were in prudent fear. And Lot, when he said to his people, Do you commit sexual immorality with open eyes? Do you approach men with lust instead of women? The truth is, you are a people in ignorance. But the response of his people was only that they said, Turn the family of Lot out of your city. They are men who keep themselves pure. And we delivered him and his household, save his wife. We decreed her to be of those who stayed behind. And we rained upon them a rain, and evil is the rain of those who were warned. Say thou, Praise belongs to God, and peace be upon his servants whom he has chosen. Is God better, or that to which they ascribe a partnership? If he who created the heavens and the earth, and sent down for you water from the sky, wherewith we caused to grow gardens full of delight, whereof it was not for you to cause the trees to grow. Is there any God with God? The truth is, they are a people who ascribe equals. If he who made the earth a fixed lodging, and made rivers in its midst, and made firm mountains therein, and made a barrier between the two seas, is there any God with God? The truth is, most of them know not. If he who responds to one distressed when he calls to him, and removes the evil, and makes you successors of the earth, is there any God with God? Little do you take heed. If he who guides you in the darknesses of the land and the sea, and who sends the winds as glad tidings at the time of his mercy, is there any God with God? Exalted be God above that, to which they ascribe a partnership. If he who begins creation, then repeats it, and provides for you from the heaven and the earth, is there any God with God? Say thou, Bring your evidence, if you be truthful. Say thou, None in the heavens and the earth knows the unseen save God, and they perceive not when they will be raised. The truth is, their knowledge fails concerning the hereafter. The truth is, they are in doubt about it. The truth is, they are blind to it. And those who ignore warning say, When we are dust, and our fathers, will we be brought forth? We have been promised this, we and our fathers, before. This is only legends of the former peoples. Say thou, Travel in the earth, and see how was the final outcome of the lawbreakers. And grieve thou not over them, nor be thou in distress because of what they scheme. And they say, When is this promise, if you be truthful? Say thou, It may be that close behind you is some of what you would hasten. And thy Lord is bountiful to mankind, but most of them are not grateful. And thy Lord knows what their breasts conceal, and what they make known. And there is nothing hidden in the heaven, and the earth save is in a clear writ. This Qur'an relates to the children of Israel most of that, wherein they differ, and it is guidance, and a mercy for the believers. Thy Lord will decide between them by his judgment, and he is the exalted in might, the knowing. And place thou thy trust in God, thou art upon the manifest truth. Thou wilt not make the dead to hear, nor wilt thou make the deaf to hear the call when they turn and go. And thou wilt not guide the blind out of their error. Thou wilt only make hear him who believes in our proofs, so they are submitting. And when the word befalls them, we will bring forth for them a creature from the earth, telling them that men were of our proofs, not certain. And the day we gather from every community a crowd of those who deny our proofs, then will they be marshaled. When they have come, he will say, Did you deny my proofs when you had not encompassed them in knowledge? Or what was it you did? And the word will befall them, because they did wrong, and they will not speak. Have they not considered that we made the night that they might rest therein, and the day sight-giving, in that are proofs for people who believe? And the day the trumpet is blown, then terrified will be whoso is in the heavens and the earth, save who God wills, and all will come to him abased. And thou seest the mountains, thou thinkest them solid, but they will pass as the passing of clouds. The work of God, who perfected all things, he is aware of what you do. Whoso brings a good deed, for him will be better than it, and they will from the terror of that day be secure. And whoso brings evil will be thrown on their faces into the fire. Are you rewarded, save for what you did? I have but been commanded to serve the Lord of this land, who made it inviolable, and to him all things belong. And I am commanded to be of those submitting, and to recite the Qur'an. And whoso is guided, he is but guided for himself. And whoso strays, then say thou, I am only of the warners. And say thou, Praise belongs to God. He will show his proofs to you, and you will recognize them. And thy Lord is not unmindful of what you do. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, Ta Sin Mim, those are the proofs of the clear writ. We recite to thee from the report of Moses and Pharaoh with the truth for people who believe. Pharaoh exalted himself in the earth and made its people sects. A number among them he oppressed, slaughtering their sons and sparing their women. He was of the workers of corruption. And we desired to give grace to those who were oppressed in the land, and to make them leaders, and to make them the inheritors, and to establish them in the land, and to show Pharaoh and Haman and their forces through them what they feared. And we instructed the mother of Moses, Suckle thou him. Then when thou fearest for him, cast thou him into the water, and fear thou not, nor grieve. We will return him to thee, and appoint him among the emissaries. And there gathered him up the house of Pharaoh, that he might become for them an enemy and a grief. Pharaoh and Haman and their forces were offenders. And the wife of Pharaoh said, A comfort of the eye for me and for thee. Kill thou him not. It may be that he will benefit us, or we will take him as a son. And they perceived not. In the morning, the heart of the mother of Moses became void. She had almost disclosed him, had we not fortified her heart, that she be of the believers. And she said to his sister, Follow thou him. And she watched him from a distance, while they perceived not. And we had forbidden him wet nurses before, so she said, Shall I direct you to the people of a household who will take care of him for you, and will look after him? So we restored him to his mother, that her eye be comforted, and she grieve not, and that she might know that the promise of God is true. But most of them know not. And when he reached his maturity, and was established, we gave him judgment and knowledge, and thus reward we the doers of good. And he entered the city at a time of heedlessness among its people, and found therein 2 men fighting, one of his sect, and the other of his enemy. And he who was of his sect sought aid of him against him who was of his enemy. Then Moses struck him, and put an end to him. He said, This is of the work of the Satan. He is a manifest, misleading enemy. He said, My Lord, I have wronged my soul, so forgive thou me. And he forgave him. He is the forgiving, the merciful. He said, My Lord, for that which thou hast favored me, nevermore will I be helper to the lawbreakers. And in the morning he was in the city, in dread, expectant, and when he who had sought his help the day before had cried out to him for help, Moses said to him, Thou art one clearly erring. Then, when he desired to lay hold upon him, who was an enemy to them both, he said, O Moses, wouldst thou kill me as thou didst kill a soul yesterday? Thou desirest only to be a tyrant in the land, and desirest not to be of those who do right. And a man came running from the furthest part of the city. He said, O Moses, the eminent ones are taking counsel against thee, to kill thee. So leave thou, I am to thee a sincere counselor. And he went out therefrom in dread, expectant. He said, My Lord, deliver thou me from the wrongdoing people. And when he turned his face towards Madian, he said, It may be that my Lord will guide me to the right path. And when he arrived at the water of Madian, he found there a community of people watering, and he found besides them 2 women holding back. He said, What is your case? They said, We do not water until the shepherds drive hence, and our father is a very old man. So he watered for them. Then he turned away to the shade, and said, My Lord, I am in need of what thou hast sent down to me of good. And there came to him one of the 2, walking shyly. She said, My father calls thee, that he might reward thee with a reward, for that thou didst water for us. And when he came to him, and had related to him the story, said he, Fear thou not, thou hast escaped the wrongdoing people. One of the 2 said, O my father, hire thou him. The best thou canst hire is the strong and the trustworthy. Said he, I desire to marry thee to one of these 2 daughters of mine, provided that thou hire thyself to me 8 years. And if thou shouldst complete 10, be that up to thee. And I desire not to create hardship for thee. Thou wilt find me, if God wills, among the righteous. He said, That is between me and thee. Whichever of the 2 terms I complete, let there be no enmity against me, and God is guardian over what we say. Then, when Moses had completed the term, and was traveling with his family, he perceived from the side of the mount a fire. He said to his family, Wait here, I have perceived a fire. I might bring you news from it, or a firebrand from the fire, that you might warm yourselves. Then, when he came to it, he was called from the right side of the valley, at the blessed sight, from the tree, O Moses, I am God, the Lord of all creation, and cast thou thy staff. And when he saw it stirring as if it were a dominus, he turned away, and did not return. O Moses, draw thou nigh, and fear thou not, thou art of the secure. Insert thou thy hand into thy bosom, it will come forth white, without evil, and draw thou thine arm to thee against fear. And these are 2 evidences from thy Lord to Pharaoh and his eminent ones. They are a perfidious people. He said, My Lord, I killed a soul among them, and I fear that they will kill me. And my brother Aaron is more eloquent than I in speech, so send thou him with me, as support to confirm me. I fear that they will deny me. Said he, We will strengthen thine arm by thy brother, and we will appoint for you authority, so they reach you not. By our proofs, you and those who follow you will be the victors. And when Moses came to them with our clear proofs, they said, This is only invented sorcery, and we heard not of this among our fathers of old. And Moses said, My Lord best knows who brings guidance from him, and whose will be the final outcome of the abode. The wrongdoers are not successful. And Pharaoh said, O eminent ones, I know not that you have a God other than me. So kindle thou for me, O Haman, upon the clay, and make thou for me a tower, that I might look upon the God of Moses, and I think him of the liars. And he had waxed proud, he and his forces, in the land, without cause, and they thought that they would not be returned to us. Then we seized him and his forces, and cast them into the sea. So see thou, how was the final outcome of the wrongdoers. And we appointed them leaders, inviting to the fire, and on the day of resurrection they will not be helped. And we caused a curse to follow them in the world, and on the day of resurrection will they be among those spurned. And we gave Moses the writ, after we had destroyed the former generations, as a means of insight for mankind, and as guidance, and as a mercy, that they might take heed. And thou wast not on the western side, when we decreed to Moses the command, and thou wast not among the witnesses. But we produced generations, and life was lengthened for them, and thou wast not a dweller among the house of Madian, reciting to them our proofs, but we were ever sending. And thou wast not on the side of the mount when we called, but as mercy from thy Lord, that thou warn a people to whom no warner came before thee, that they might take heed. And were it not that calamity should befall them because of what their hands sent ahead, then will they say, Our Lord, oh, that thou hadst but sent for us a messenger, then would we have followed thy proofs, and been among the believers. But when there came to them the truth from us, they said, Oh, that he were but given the like of what was given to Moses. Do they not deny what was given to Moses before? They say, 2 sorceries supporting each other. And they say, We are deniers of both. Say thou, Then bring a writ from God that gives better guidance than these. I will follow it, if you be truthful. And if they respond not to thee, know thou that they but follow their vain desires, and who is further astray than he who follows his vain desire without guidance from God? God guides not the wrongdoing people, and we have caused the word to reach them, that they might take heed. Those to whom we gave the writ before it, they believe in it, and when it is recited to them, they say, We believe in it. It is the truth from our Lord. Before it were we submitting. Those will be given their reward twice over, because they were patient, and they avert evil with good, and of what we have provided them they spend. And when they hear vain speech, they turn away from it and say, We have our works, and you have your works. Peace be upon you. We seek not the ignorant. Thou guidest not whom thou likest, but God guides whom he wills, and he best knows the guided. And they say, If we follow the guidance with thee, we will be swept from our land. Have we not established for them a sanctuary secure, whereto are collected the fruits of all things, as a provision from us? But most of them know not, and how many a city we destroyed, that was insolent in its livelihood, and those are their dwellings. They have not been inhabited after them, save a little, and we are the inheritors. And never would thy Lord destroy the cities, until he has raised up in their principal city a messenger reciting to them our proofs. And never would we destroy the city of Saba, when the people thereof were wrongdoers. And what you have been given of anything is the enjoyment of the life of this world and its ornament, and what is with God is better and more enduring. Will you then not use reason? Is then he whom we have promised a fair promise, which he will meet like him, to whom we gave the enjoyment of the life of this world, then, on the day of resurrection, is among those summoned, and the day he calls them, then will he say, Where are my partners, whom you claimed? Those upon whom the word has become binding will say, Our Lord, these are they whom we caused to err. We caused them to err even as we ourselves did err. We declare our innocence to thee. It was not us that they served, and it will be said, Call your partners, and they will call them, but they will not answer them, and they will see the punishment, had they but been guided. And the day he calls them, then will he say, What answer gave you to the emissaries? Then darkened for them will be the reports that day, and they will not ask one another. And as for him who repents and believes and works righteousness, then it may be that he will be among the successful. And thy Lord creates what he wills, and he chooses. Not for them is the choice. Glory be to God, and exalted is he above that to which they ascribe a partnership. And thy Lord knows what their breasts conceal, and what they make known. And he is God. There is no God save he. His is the praise in the former and the latter, and his is the judgment, and to him will you be returned. Say thou, have you considered, if God should make night unceasing over you until the day of resurrection, what God besides God will bring you illumination? Will you then not hear? Say thou, have you considered, if God should make day unceasing over you until the day of resurrection, what God besides God will bring you night, wherein you will rest? Will you then not see? And of his mercy has he made for you the night and the day, that you might rest therein and seek of his bounty, and that you might be grateful. And the day he calls them, he will say, Where are my partners whom you claimed? And we will take out from every community a witness and say, Bring your evidence. Then will they know that the truth belongs to God, and strayed from them will be what they invented. Qarun was of the people of Moses, but he oppressed them, and we had given him of treasures, that whereof the keys weighed down a company of men endowed with strength. When his people said to him, Exult thou not, God loves not the exultant, but seek thou in what God has given thee the abode of the hereafter, and forget thou not thy portion in the world, and do thou good, as God has done good to thee, and seek thou not corruption in the land. God loves not the workers of corruption. He said, I have been given it only because of knowledge I have. Knew he not that God had destroyed before him generations stronger than him in power, and greater in accumulation? And the lawbreakers will not be questioned about their transgressions. So went he forth to his people in his finery. Those who sought the life of this world said, Would that we had the like of what has been given to Qarun. He is one of great fortune. But those given knowledge said, Woe to you! The reward of God is better for him who believes and works righteousness, and none is granted it save the patient. Then we caused the earth to swallow him and his abode, and there was for him no band to help him besides God, and he was not of those who helped themselves. And morning found those who had desired his place the day before, saying, Oh, how God expands and straightens the provision for whom he wills of his servants. Had God not been gracious to us, he would have caused it to swallow us. And oh, how the false claimers of guidance do not succeed. That is the abode of the hereafter we make for those who seek neither exaltedness nor corruption in the land. And the final outcome is for those of prudent fear. Whoso brings a good deed, he will have better than it. And whoso brings evil, those who did evil deeds will not be rewarded, save for what they did. He who made the Qur'an incumbent upon thee will return thee to a destination. Say thou, My Lord best knows who brings guidance and who is in manifest error. And thou didst not expect that the writ would be cast unto thee, only as a mercy from thy Lord. So be thou not a helper to the false claimers of guidance. And let them not turn thee away from the proofs of God after they have been sent down to thee. And invite thou to thy Lord, and be thou not of the idolaters. And call thou not with God to another God. There is no God save he. Everything will perish save his face. His is the judgment, and to him will you be returned. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful. Alif Lam Mim. Do men think they will be left to say, We believe, and will not be subjected to means of denial, and we subjected to means of denial those before them. And God will know those who are truthful, and he will know the liars. If those who do evil deeds think they can outrun us, evil is what they judge. Whoso looks to the meeting with God, the term of God is coming, and he is the hearing, the knowing. And whoso strives, strives but for himself. God is free from need of all mankind. And those who heed warning and do righteous deeds, we will remove from them their evil deeds, and reward them for the best of what they did. And we enjoined upon man goodness to his parents. But if they strive to make thee ascribe a partnership with me to that of which thou hast no knowledge, then obey thou them not. Unto me is your return, and I will inform you of what you did. And those who heed warning and do righteous deeds, we will make them enter among the righteous. And among men is he who says, we believe in God. But when he is hindered for God, he makes the means of denial of men as the punishment of God. But if help comes from thy Lord, he will say, we were with you. Does not God best know what is in the breasts of all mankind? And God will know those who heed warning, and he will know the waverers. And those who ignore warning say to those who heed warning, follow our path, and we will bear your offenses. But they will not bear anything of their offenses. They are liars. And they will bear their loads, and loads besides their loads. And they will be questioned on the day of resurrection about what they invented. And we sent Noah to his people, and he tarried among them 1,000 years, save 50 years. And the flood took them when they were wrongdoers. But we delivered him, and those with him in the ship, and we made it a proof for all mankind. And Abraham, when he said to his people, serve God, and be in prudent fear of him, that is best for you, if you would know. You but serve, other than God, idols, and create falsehood. Those whom you serve, besides God, possess for you no provision. So seek provision with God, and serve him, and be grateful to him. To him will you be returned. But if you deny, then communities have denied before you, and upon the messenger is only the clear notification. Have they not seen how God originates creation, then repeats it? That is easy for God. Say thou, travel in the earth, and see how he originated creation. Then will God produce the latter creation. God is over all things powerful. He punishes whom he wills, and shows mercy to whom he wills, and to him will you be returned. And you cannot escape in the earth or in the heaven, and you have, besides God, neither ally nor helper. And those who deny the proofs of God and the meeting with him, those despair of my mercy, and those will have a painful punishment. Then the response of his people was only that they said, kill him or burn him. But God delivered him from the fire. In that are proofs for people who believe. And he said, you have but taken, besides God, idols as love between you in the life of this world. Then, on the day of resurrection, will you deny each other, and curse each other. And your shelter will be the fire, and you will have no helpers. Then Lot believed him, and he said, I will emigrate to my Lord. He is the exalted in might, the wise. And we gave him Isaac and Jacob, and we placed among his progeny prophethood and the writ. And we gave him his reward in the world, and in the hereafter he is among the righteous. And Lot, when he said to his people, you commit sexual immorality, that none among all mankind has preceded you. Do you approach men and cut off the way and commit perversity in your assemblies? Then the response of his people was only that they said, bring thou us the punishment of God, if thou be of the truthful. He said, my Lord, help thou me against the people who work corruption. And when our messengers came to Abraham with the glad tidings, they said, we will destroy the people of this city. Its people are wrongdoers. He said, therein is Lot. They said, We best know who is therein. We will deliver him and his household, save his wife. She is of those who stay behind. And when our messengers came to Lot, he was distressed for them, and felt unable to protect them. And they said, Fear thou not, nor grieve. We will deliver thee, and thy household, save thy wife. She is of those who stay behind. We will send upon the people of this city a scourge from the sky, because they were perfidious. And we have left thereof a proof as clear evidence for people who reason. And to Madian, their brother Shuaib, he said, O my people, serve God, and expect the last day, and commit not evil in the earth, working corruption. Then they denied him, and the earthquake seized them, and morning found them lying prone in their home. And Ad and Thamud, and it has become clear to you from their dwellings, and the Satan made their deeds fair to them, and turned them away from the path when they were endowed with perception. And Karun, and Pharaoh, and Haman, and Moses had come to them with clear signs, and they had waxed proud in the earth, but they did not outrun. And each we took for his transgression, and among them was he upon whom we sent a storm of stones, and among them was he whom the blast seized, and among them was he whom we caused the earth to swallow, and among them was he whom we drowned. And God wronged them not, but they wronged their souls. The likeness of those who take allies, besides God, is as the likeness of the spider that takes a house, and the weakest of houses is the house of the spider, did they but know. God knows to whatever thing they call besides him, and he is the exalted in might, the wise. And those similitudes, we strike them for mankind, but none will understand them, save those of knowledge. God created the heavens and the earth in truth. In that is a proof for the believers. Recite thou what has been revealed to thee of the writ, and uphold thou the duty. The duty forbids sexual immorality and perversity, and the remembrance of God is greater, and God knows what you do. And dispute not with the doctors of the law, save with what is better. Save those who do wrong among them, and say, We believe in that which was sent down to us, and sent down to you, and our God and your God is one, and to him we are submitting. And thus sent we down the writ to thee, and those to whom we gave the writ believe in it, and among those are some who believe in it, and none rejects our proofs, but the false claimers of guidance. And thou didst not recite any writ before it, nor didst thou inscribe one with thy right hand. Then might the creators of vanity have doubted. The truth is, it is clear proofs in the breasts of those given knowledge, and none rejects our proofs but the wrongdoers. And they say, Oh, that proofs were but sent down upon him from his Lord. Say thou, the proofs are only with God, and I am only a clear warner. Does it not suffice them that we have sent down upon thee the writ recited to them? In that is a mercy and a reminder for people who believe. Say thou, God is sufficient between me and you as witness. He knows what is in the heavens and the earth, and those who believe in vanity and deny God, it is they who are the losers. And they ask thee to hasten the punishment. And were it not for a stated term, the punishment would have come upon them, and it will come upon them unexpectedly when they perceive not. They ask thee to hasten the punishment, and Gehenna will encompass the false claimers of guidance. The day the punishment covers them from above them, and from beneath their feet, and he will say, Taste what you did. O my servants who heed warning, my earth is spacious, so me, serve you me. Every soul will taste death, then to us will you be returned. And those who heed warning and do righteous deeds, we will settle them in high chambers of the garden, beneath which rivers flow, they, abiding eternally therein. Excellent is the reward of those who act, those who are patient, and in their Lord place their trust. And how many a creature bears not its provision? God provides for it, and for you, and he is the hearing, the knowing. And if thou askest them, Who created the heavens and the earth, and made subject the sun and the moon? They will say, God. How then are they deluded? God expands provision for whom he wills of his servants, and he straightens for him. God knows all things. And if thou askest them, who sends down water from the sky, and therewith gives life to the earth after its death? They will say, God. Say thou, praise belongs to God. The truth is, most of them do not reason, and the life of this world is only play and games, and the abode of the hereafter, that is life, did they but know. Then, when they embark on the ship, they call to God, sincere to him in doctrine, but when he delivers them to the land, then they ascribe a partnership, that they might deny what we gave them, and enjoy themselves, but they will come to know. Have they not considered that we appointed a sanctuary secure, while men were swept away round about them? Do they then believe in vanity, and deny the favor of God? And who is more unjust than he who invents a lie about God, or denies the truth when it comes to him? Is then there not in Gehenna a home for the false claimers of guidance? And those who strive for us, we will guide them to our paths, and God is with the doers of good. In the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful, Alif Lam Mim, the Romans have been victorious in the lowest earth, but they, after their defeat, will be victorious. In a few years, to God belongs the command before and after, and that day the believers will exult. At the help of God, he helps whom he wills, and he is the exalted in might, the merciful. The promise of God. God fails not in his promise, but most men know not. They know an outward part of the life of this world, but of the hereafter they are heedless. Have they not reflected within themselves? God created the heavens and the earth, and what is between them, only in truth and for a stated term, and many among men are deniers of the meeting with their Lord. Have they not traveled in the earth, and seen how was the final outcome of those who were before them? They were stronger than them in power, and they tilled the earth, and inhabited it more than they have inhabited it. And their messengers came to them with clear signs, and God wronged them not, but they wronged their souls. Then evil was the final outcome of those who did evil, because they denied the proofs of God and mocked them. God begins creation, then he repeats it, then to him will you be returned. And the day the hour strikes, the lawbreakers will despair, and there will be no intercessors for them among their partners, and they will deny their partners. And the day the hour strikes, that day will they be divided. As for those who heed warning and do righteous deeds, they will be made glad in a lush meadow. But as for those who ignore warning and deny our proofs and the meeting of the hereafter, those will be summoned to the punishment. So glory be to God when you reach the evening and when you reach morning, and to him belongs the praise in the heavens and the earth, and at night and when you reach midday. He brings forth the living from the dead, and brings forth the dead from the living, and he gives life to the earth after its death, and thus will you be brought forth. And among his proofs is that he created you from dust, then are you mortals dispersing. And among his proofs is that he created for you spouses from yourselves, that you might be reassured thereby, and made between you love and mercy. In that are proofs for people who reflect. And among his proofs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the difference in your tongues and your hues. In that are proofs for all mankind. And among his proofs is your sleep by night and day, and your seeking of his bounty. In that are proofs for people who hear. And among his proofs he shows you the lightning as fear and hope, and sends down water from the sky, and gives thereby life to the earth after its death. In that are proofs for people who reason. And among his proofs is that the heaven and the earth stand by his command. Then, when he calls you with a call, from the earth will you then come forth. And to him belongs whoso is in the heavens and the earth. All are to him humbly obedient. And he it is that begins creation, then he repeats it, and it is most easy for him, and to him belongs the highest likeness in the heavens and the earth, and he is the exalted in might, the wise. He strikes for you a similitude from yourselves. Have you from among those whom your right hands possess any partners in what we have provided for you, so that you are equal therein, you fearing them as you fear each other? Thus do we set out and detail the proofs for people who reason. The truth is, those who do wrong follow their vain desires without knowledge. Then who will guide him whom God has sent astray? And they have no helpers. So set thou thy face towards the doctrine, inclining to truth, the nature of God with which he created people. There is no changing the creation of God. That is the right doctrine, but most men know not. Turning in repentance to him, and be in prudent fear of him, and uphold the duty, and be not of the idolaters, of those who divide their doctrine, and become sects, each party exulting at what it has. And when affliction touches men, they call to their Lord, turning in repentance to him. Then, when he lets them taste mercy from him, then a faction among them ascribes a partnership to their Lord, that they might deny what we have given them. So enjoy yourselves, and you will come to know. If we have sent down upon them an authority, then it speaks of that to which they ascribe a partnership. And when we let men taste mercy, they exult thereat. But if evil befalls them because of what their hands sent ahead, then they despair. Have they not considered that God expands provision for whom he wills, and he straightens? In that are proofs for people who believe. So give thou the relative his due, and the needy, and the wayfarer. That is best for those who desire the face of God, and it is they who are the successful. And what you give of usury, that it might increase in the wealth of men, there is no increase with God. But what you give of purity, desiring the face of God, it is they who receive recompense manifold. God is he who created you, then he provided for you, then will he give you death, then will he give you life. Is there among your partners one who does anything of that? Glory be to him, and exalted is he above that to which they ascribe a partnership. Corruption has appeared on land and sea for what the hands of men have earned, that he might let them taste some of what they have done, that they might return. Say thou, travel in the earth, and see how was the final outcome of those who were before. Most of them were idolaters. So set thou thy face towards the right doctrine before there comes a day, of which there is no repelling from God. That day will they be separated. Whoso denies, upon him is his denial, and whoso works righteousness, then are they preparing for themselves, that he might reward those who heed warning, and do righteous deeds of his bounty. He loves not the false claimers of guidance. And among his proofs is that he sends the winds as bearers of glad tidings, that he might let you taste of his mercy, and that the ships might run by his command, and that you might seek of his bounty, and that you might be grateful. And we sent before thee messengers to their people, and they brought them clear signs. Then we took vengeance on those who were lawbreakers, and it was binding upon us to help the believers. God is he who sends the winds, that they stir up a cloud, and he spreads it in the sky as he wills, and he makes it pieces, and thou seest the rain come forth from the midst of it. Then when he makes it fall on whom he wills of his servants, they rejoice. Though they were, before it was sent down upon them, before that, in despair. So look thou at the effects of the mercy of God, how he gives life to the earth after its death. That is the quickener of the dead, and he is over all things powerful. And if we send a wind, and they see it turn yellow, they would continue after that, to deny. And thou wilt not make the dead to hear, nor wilt thou make the deaf hear the call, when they turn and go. And thou wilt not guide the blind out of their error. Thou wilt only make hear him who believes in our proofs, so they are submitting. God is he who created you of weakness, then appointed he, after weakness, strength, then he appointed after strength, weakness and white hair. He creates what he wills, and he is the knowing, the powerful. And the day the hour strikes, the lawbreakers will swear that they had tarried but an hour, thus were they deluded. But those given knowledge and faith will say, You have tarried concerning the writ of God until the day of resurrection. So this is the day of resurrection, but you knew not. So, that day, their excuses will not profit those who do wrong, nor will they be allowed to make amends. And we have struck for men in this Qur'an every similitude, and if thou come to them with a proof, those who ignore warning will say, You are only creators of vanity. Thus does God seal the hearts of those who know not. And be thou patient, the promise of God is true, and let not those who are not certain sway thee.